Like, ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a bet, right?
Ladies, gentlemen, everyone in that wonderful Technicolor rainbow in between, welcome to tonight's coverage of the Titan Esports Vanquisher League. I am What's and joining me today, back in his usual spot, feeling good, feeling great, I hope. It's Golden Gat. How you doing today, GG?
Doing good. Glad to be back, but also glad to have no lag. I don't know if you remember 2 weeks ago, I was zipping and zooping around the camera here, but back to my full HD glory, of course. So happy to be back and happy to get into this match. Of course, we have XSV, I believe Jellyfish. Let me get this right.
Jellyfish Jammers.
Jellyfish Jammers and Mint Icee. So we will be seeing how these two actually break it down here. Of course, XSV, Jellyfish Jammers, they are going to be just out of the gate straight up favorites because they kept most of their roster from the last split. And, you know, it was a pretty good roster. They weren't able to take, you know, the full win, but they were definitely a contender there in that last split. So definitely a little bit of favorites coming into this one as we do get into the draft here. A lot of junglers, some flex picks as well with the Zahan getting taken off the table, and I'm ready to just get this one started.
Yeah, another thing to mention, besides the fact that this is a cross week, so we have Group B versus Group C here, both these teams are undefeated with the same game score. Both of them are 2-0, both of them are 4-1. So this is really going to end up being a decider for each of these groups. Who's really on top? Which group really has that group of death, which everybody seems to clamber so highly for? Because if you're in the group of death, at the very least, you can say, well, we did well for our group. We lost to the best team, but they won the whole thing. They're the best team anyway. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, and, you know, arguably, you could say, hey, both of these teams, they had one loss on the record, so not exactly perfect, but we're already starting off with some spicy stuff here with the Zyra lock in first pick.
Okay.
I'm thinking this is a flex pick. This has to be between Jabber and Zarkiros here for just a weird flex, as we're going to get the Senna lock in. This champ has been picking up a lot of steam across the world, really, as just a nice main DPS, man. Weird crossover. 80 carry.
Yes.
Man.
We don't play those arena shooters. We don't play those 6-on-6s. This is League of Legends. We're a top-down MOBA, and we like it that way. Senna as the 80 carry, almost assuredly Pantheon. Again, with flexibility between jungle and support. Does have the capability to also go top lane, but I'd be a little surprised. Trundle is someone that we were talking about in the break as what you missed last week. Ended with a matchup that felt a little unfair between Trundle and Sion, so I think that's what we're not hoping to see here, as Hui is also going to get locked in, so we can pretty much guarantee that the Zyra will be going support. I'd be surprised if that Trundle did end up shifting out of the jungle, but it's a possibility.
Yeah, and we will be seeing Hui and Melio get locked in here. Kind of an interesting pairing of the Melio Senna. A little bit surprising, but it does give you some ability to actually get the Trundle out of a dive scenario, so it's not exactly the worst here. And one thing is, Trundle actually does quite good into Pantheon. It generally just wins duels against Pantheon, which is a bit of a concern, especially in the early game here. So we are now going to be seeing some targeting towards the top lane on XSV side, and for Mint, of course, targeting that 80 carry pool, trying to pinch it as much as possible, getting those really strong laning 80 carries out of the pool. There is still Varus. Oh no, Varus is banned. There is still some other champions you can kind of rely on, like Corki is still a thing, Ezreal, Lucian.
I'm thinking about the range matchup here because that's part of why you ban out the Ashe and the Caitlyn. They can match Senna's range early and bully her out. Senna really needs a lot of that time to actually scale up. And speaking of scaling up time, Victor as well. I'm starting to get a little worried for Mint here, actually. This is a very heavy scaling team with Pantheon to try and get them through the early game. I would like to see something either in top lane or jungle, wherever this Pantheon ends up going. Something with a little bit more agency and something that can do something early on into the game.
Yeah, Jhin, we're going to be seeing that utility pick here. So Jhin Zyra actually is quite a good combination because Jhin has a really easy access to just slightly tapping someone, as we are going to see the blind pick Kled. Now, as far as counter picks to Kled, You definitely do not want to pick a range champion. Generally, you just want to pick something that's also a bruiser. Okay, Shen does work as well, but it's not actually the best matchup for Shen here. But, you know, if you wanted a tank, this is probably the best you can do in this scenario versus a Trundle and a Kled. So I don't hate it. And then you get that double global pressure of the Pantheon Shen, of course. One thing here is I'm shocked to see Victor locked in. Don't you pick Hui to counter Victor? That's like generally how that goes because he outranges the Victor on most scenarios. So I'm just pretty surprised to see that.
Can end up out-dueling him as well, can match the wave clear. I am a little surprised. I think this may just be a Concerned Badger comfort pick into another utility scaling mage, and you don't want to grab something like Orianna that you might be planning for later in the series, where you have a particular plan with like Pantheon plus Victor in the mid lane. I don't know about the Victor pick for a different reason than you. I think the matchup in the vacuum is fine enough if you can navigate it without losing hard. The thing that worries me is just Mint not having a lot of agency in the early game. They don't have a lot of, hey, we've hit like level 5 and we can make a gank happen for Pantheon, who is a champion that really does rely on early pressure, getting that first ultimate down and making it a very impactful one, similar to Nocturne, but with a little bit more utility depending on how you see it. I do like, you know how Twitch plus Shen, we call it the submarine.
Welcome to
Shen plus Pantheon airstrike. I like that.
This is true. This is very, very true. However, counterpoint, how does Pantheon play the game post level like 8? I'm not exactly sure.
That is an excellent question that we are going to have to get taught here as we get onto the Rift here for game number 1. It's Excessive, the Jellyfish Jammers, and Mint Gaming Icee. I miss Icees. I haven't had one in forever.
Yeah, we are getting close to 7-Eleven to get your free Icee at 7-Eleven. Not a sponsor, by the way. Just
not sponsored.
We
just really like the drink.
Yeah. I will say, yeah, I just have a concern for Pantheon because when I used to play Pantheon support, the nightmare matchup is the Zyra, and that probably does not change if you're in the jungle.
Yeah, it probably makes it a little better because you don't have to technically interact with the Zyra early on in the game, especially when you're looking at a Senna Melio bottom lane. This is not a lane that you're going to be doing a ton of ganking for, as we see Daro end up take the chunk half of that trade, but with the Melio in pocket plus the Senna, it's a lot of sustain at the very least. But again, my big concern is, what does Pantheon do before level 6? What does Pantheon do at level 6? It feels like there's not a lot for him to actually do in this early game.
I think you have to just shut down the Hui. If you can get an isolated side lane where Victor is just significantly stronger than the Hui, I think you're in a pretty decent position since Shen... Oh my god, what? How did Apathetic Badger even get that low to start with? And gotta be a little bit scared of Kush also canceling this.
Oh, there it is! The
potion's ticking.
Nice shot. Does
think
level 2 a little bit safer, but no flash, no heal. Yeah, Apathetic Badger does just have to get out of here, and this is what Zyra does in the early game. As someone who does play support pretty frequently, you don't get the Zyra matchup that often, but when you do, I'm gonna be honest, I still don't exactly know what you pick into it, because it feels like if you pick Poke, she just has the plants and outranges you. If you pick Sustain, she's just gonna outrange you and poke you with plants, and if you pick a melee, you're just never allowed to play the game.
Yeah, so I don't know. We'll have to see.
You pray for mid and late game.
You do pray for mid and late game, but we talked about it. Yes, they have a lot of scaling, but also their engages are pretty homeless come the mid game. Playing into Hui, Trundle, and Zyra. That's just going to be a little bit more difficult to actually navigate in this one. I will say, top lane matchup is going pretty well for Shen here already, which is a pretty good sign to Daro, though.
Plus the roots, Daro eating plenty of damage, still holding onto barrier and flash.
Jabber.
We can talk about the Keystone choice in a second, as Jabber is unspotted here. With Pillar available, is going to stick Daro into the corner. A couple more autos, the plants will take it. That's Zarkiros picking up first blood, and Apathetic Badger should be the next to go. Wait for the tower to reset, one more auto. Kush takes the aggro, beautifully executed by Excessive Jellyfish Jammers.
Yeah, I mean, the double actual damage range composition of the Jhin Zyra, just a lot more pressure than the Melio Senna, and honestly a little bit of an interesting position. They definitely should let that wave just crash in here for Daro and Apathetic Badger, but unfortunate they do go down here. Basting, nice use of the W to get out of a lot of damage there, but able to dismount here. Pyronics.
Well, very nicely done. And this is kind of what you see Shens do in the top lane fairly often. They do have a fairly advantageous matchup into health stackers and tanks in general, just because that is something that Shen scales really well off of opposing enemy HP. As say that, now in trouble, does have the passive shield, will stay alive for now, but this is a very large wave, and Jabber's in the area, but now taking level 5, it doesn't look like there's going to be any sort of a dive. No Scarl, no Ignite. Pyronex just wants to take the recall.
Yeah. If anything, you'll take the flash. You can go for a re-engage on another wave. And this is the strongest point for Shen generally until like late game. So being able to actually force him out of lane is definitely a good thing, but not to get a lot of extra damage on top.
Yikes, 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 ouch, ouch, ouch. I do want to point out while we have a second, this is kind of in the new tech that we've seen in the bottom lane, what we're seeing on Daro here. Senna, like you mentioned, has been picking up a lot of steam, and it's because of Deathfire Touch being added back into the game, alongside the new Doran's starting item, Doran's Helm. 140 health is a lot on its own, more than Doran's shield gives. Tack onto that an extra 10 armor and magic resist, your early laney phase can just end up being super, super safe, as long as you're not into double range, double damage like we're seeing out of Kush and Zarkuros. So maybe this was the idea behind the Zyra, just saying, hey, we dare you to pick Senna, we know you want it, we're going to have it away from you anyway.
Yeah. That is a good point here. I mean, the Helm definitely helps, but also you're playing a scaling composition as we talked about before, but you know, you have to give up so many waves just to be able to survive this lane. It's definitely not looking good as Jabber looking to exploit it yet again.
Bottom side again.
Flash
Still
up for
no
Daro,
summoners
though.
available. Daro available. Heal's going to be up in just a couple seconds. They just have to stall it out and survive. And this dive is looking a little bit more risky, but the kill off Badger before he can get the heal. It will be traded 1-for-1 support for support. But Daro picking up the last hit there, I think, is pretty huge. Hunting now in the area as well. Excessive, just continuing to push pressure on this bottom side. You do not want to let the Sen Emilio breathe, and I think that's the right call.
Yeah, definitely make it hard. They immediately, you know, called out, hey, the Senna still has flash, let's not make it a dive target here, so good target selection here. This is the Concerned Badger now.
Pyro will spare. Hunty a little low on mana, does have the double W to get back some extra mana, but Concerned Badger with the Arcane Storm and the Death Laser doing plenty of work back to him. Like you mentioned in the draft, Victor versus Wei, a tricky matchup, I think, for both sides.
Yeah, I think at least for now. I think Wei in mid game is just going to be really hard once the first item actually does come through until Victor fully outscales. So this is the moment, but I think for the most part, Hunty just wants to leverage the fact that he has to go for a recall anyways, so it's not exactly the worst place to be. We do see the Dark Seal in the inventory for Concerned Badger, so feeling confident to go for that in this one. Maybe knowing that you have to get a bit of a gold lead, slash stat lead just to compete in the side lane on the mid game. So we'll have to see if he's able to pick up some stacks. No contest on the drag so far. We're 7 minutes in, so definitely a little bit more slow of a matchup here. But now with Shen level 7, it's pretty hard to make an isolated play. You really need it to be one of those bigger fights to see both these top laners kind of come and join with their global slash semi-globals.
Double global ultimates, like we mentioned in draft for Icee. They have the ability to turn any fight into an unfair fight, as we see Lagging Weasel looking on the bottom side. Daro eating a little bit of poke, but Zarkuros and Kush pushing up now into the Grand Starfall, but it's not positioned great. Flash forward from Apathetic Badger. They're getting onto Kush. The Dawning Shadow, they're throwing everything at the Jhin. They will finally take him down, but it has given Jabber and Hunty time to run over. And now Weasel flashes away, but still in the slurry to the pillar. No escape for the Pantheon. Jabber's going to take a bite out of him, and Concerned Badger now forced to be on the run. Zarkiro stepping up, has the Strangle Thorns, picks up the double knockup, severing both as well. That means Daro will fall. Jabber now on a rampage. This Trundle is unlocked. Melia taking a ton of damage. The severing bolt again. Zarkuros picks up the last hit with the plants, and excessive Jellyfish jammers make a huge play on the bottom side.
Yeah, Mint just going way too far forward to try and force the play onto Zarkuros, who still has the ultimate and actually just picks up that kill for free. So just more and more pain bleeding out here for Mint. They are now just about 2k gold down. Concerned Badger has to be careful here.
Oh, curtain call. The W Flourish lands shot number 1. Here comes the Stand United. Shot number 2 is going to hit. Shot number 3. Wow. It's not enough. And Basing is going to lose that first ultimate, which we called out in draft is so key for these global ultimates.
Yeah, this is looking disastrous here for Mint. Kush able to pick up another kill here, as we do see a replay on how this actually went down. They actually have a good angle from Kush and Zarkiros here to get out of here, but nice double flash from the bot lane to actually capitalize on this. Onto Kush, they burn everything for it. Kush knows he's dead, no barrier even committed here, but since Lagging Weasel actually committed the E, there is no escaping for the Pantheon. A little bit of unfortunate minion blocking as well. That is the jungler taken down as well, and then they just went so far forward. Yeah, and Melio getting clipped here just for no reason here. Means that the play can extend even further. Melio just gets chased down, the pillar comes down, and the passive damage plus a bit of the burn.
Devastating fire. Cool.
More than enough.
Devastating indeed.
Yep, and Badger sticking around, and then eventually we'll see Kush just get a little bit of the Jhin action with the bit of a snipe coming through here.
Staying to clear the first wave, I think is acceptable, but that second wave, I feel like you just have to give that one up. You just have to say, okay, that one's gone.
Yeah, and on the picture-in-picture, we also had Basting going down on the top side as well. Now Melio, no summoners.
Badger taking a lot of damage. There's the Deadly Flourish, and there's the combo. Dawning Shadow plus the Warm Hugs. He will stay alive on the bottom side, but so much loss just to keep him there, and he's not going to stay alive much longer. Hunty has anything to say about a Severing Bolt. Nicely sidestepped. We'll get away, and now Hunty the one in trouble as Lagging Weasel's in the area. Taro able to apply a little bit of pressure. Badger does have to be pretty careful. Health bar very low. Spear shot does not manage to land on the Hui. He'll manage to walk out with everyone alive. Somehow, nobody dies on the bottom side of the map here.
Yeah, Hunty was in a really, really tough position, but just making the decision to commit for the dive finds a way out there, since Concerned Badger's just not there in time, so he'll be able to walk it out. And Daro now.
Daro,
be careful.
Number 1, 2 misses. Number 3 is there, but there's the there's the ultimate for Pantheon, but it's into the waiting arms of Jabber. Oh, that's just, you hate to see it.
Baited? Question mark?
Yeah, we'll call that a bait. Absolutely.
The entire team just waiting. It is hilarious that Jabber just read that like a book onto Lagging Weasel, just like, hey, yeah, the Pantheon will probably ult you here, so let me just stand right in this bush where you can't see me. So pretty unfortunate there for the Pantheon, and not finding much success in the early game is kind of a disaster here, as we do get a replay on how Basting actually went down to
picture on
Puronics.
the bottom of your screen there. You see the mid laners training ultimates, but let's see exactly what happened on this top side as this play in mid is going to dissolve. How did Basing actually get caught here? It is just the ignite pressure.
Yeah, waits out the W as well. A little bit of a visual bug, but it was ticking there. But just the, the anti-heal from the Q plus any additional pressure. Now Concerned Badger.
Now potentially in trouble. Gets the gravity wall off, but there's no chance for that stun to land before Jabber takes a chomp out of him. This Trundle is a monster at this point in the game. Already 6-0, and now Apathetic Badger in trouble on the bottom side again. Gives himself the massive campfire. Is it enough to get him out? Flash forward from Cooch over the Mega Fire Kick. Gets the kill for himself. Another root lands from Zarkiros and Daro, just taking more damage. We questioned the Melio Senna in draft, and I think we're seeing exactly why we had these questions. As we reach about 12.5 minutes, the gold lead has ballooned 6,500, nearly 7 in favor of the Jellyfish Jammers.
Yeah, this is pretty much lights out for this one, unless there's a critical mistake here from XSV Jellyfish Jammers. I will say, we've seen crazier things happen before, but this one feels pretty tough to throw, since I feel like a lot of the lanes are just in the state where it's kind of irreparable, since they need to be kind of close going into this mid to late game. And team fights are not going to be much easier. So we do get a bit of lag, but we are still here with you, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, and this is what I was talking about in the draft. Just the fact that Icee doesn't have a lot for Pantheon to do early on in the game. We've seen Lagging Weasel make some valiant attempts with the ultimate by trying to make plays, but looking at the scaling on the enemy team, obviously Jhin Zyra are not going to scale super hard into the late game, but you have Hui, you have Trundle, who will do decently well in the mid game, even just as a meat stick, and Kled as well, who scales fairly well as more poke landing onto Apathetic Badger. Curtain Call opened up, forces the flash out of him, and Concerned Badger has to tank for the smaller Badger. Will end up eating those shots with bone plating, but Yeah, there's just not a lot of go buttons, not a lot of accelerators, not a lot of comeback mechanics for Icee here, as we've seen them get chased out of their own jungle. Apathetic Badger caught out again, and hunting with the Severing Bolt will take him down. Jellyfish Shammers just own this map.
Yeah, and Jabber's 2k gold up on the opposing jungler, so there's pretty much no contesting any objectives for the next 20 minutes, and that's just a pretty hard prospect. The Drake is very slow, but we see another kill on the tail end there. Wei just catching out.
Turned up in the top side, Dawning Shadow, Basting getting a lot of help here. The extra gold and the shutdown will go over to Lagging Weasel. Now, to be honest, I think I'd rather that be either on Senna or Shen at this point in the game.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about how hard it is for Pantheon to find an engage or even just any pressure in a team fight due to the Zyra Trundle Kled, but now this is a homeless Pantheon looking for just some W's on any overextending members for the most part. So yeah, definitely would have liked to see it on the Shen just to maybe get to that late game position where you can contest a Kled or even a Hui in the side lane, but it's not going to be the case here as Jabber just taking everything that Lagging Weasel thought he had claim to. Certain Badger needs to be concerned here of Jabber.
Concerned enough at the very least. I have to wonder, with the Zyra first pick in draft, is this just Jellyfish Chambers just having the read on this matchup? Like, they know what Icee was actually going to draft as?
Just completely
see
blind.
Exactly what happened. Blind root? Wow, that's disgusting.
Yeah, and he's going to get the snipe here, too, because of the ward. That's disgusting.
Surely not. Oh, that's foul. That's good Hui play is what that is. You have to respect that. If we get a replay here of what happened on the top side, Basting was good enough. Baited fairly well.
Yeah, I'm surprised to not just see Kironix flash to the other side and then Q away, and probably do live that, but...
Speaking of Basting, now getting caught out as Arcturus roaming up here, the Ignite ticking away. The pistol shot to his face. And Chironix will take that kill, and the Goldie just continues to accelerate here. And Jellyfish Shammers, like I said earlier, they just kind of own the map now, and you have to wonder for Icee, at what point do you start just thinking about game 2?
I think that was 5 minutes ago, but... my apologies. Every game's winnable, but, you know, you gotta put some thought to it now. You know, analyze what went wrong. Definitely, Senamelia was not the play. You have 0 pre-level, even 4.
And you
I think
saw
level
the
4.
Zyra face up. It was a first pick.
Yeah, I feel like you just have to pick either a really hard engage and just...
Darrow steps up, but a beautiful pillar from Jabber's going to force the flash and the barrier out of Darrow, but Chironix maybe has gone too far. Kled tanky enough to escape for now, but Basting on the way will force him to flash back over the wall. Nice little disengage there from Icee. They don't end up losing anything on the play outside of their 80 carry summoner spells, but they get something back for it at the very least.
Yeah. And just the combos are so good here for Jhin. You have Zyra who just does like little ticks of damage for the proxy, but if you know, little do most people know, Trundle actually activates Jhin W with the pillar because it does does 1 damage. So
that is true damage.
Yeah, that is enough to activate the W there. So there's actually great synergy on this composition, and having a Kled to just say, yeah, we're going in no matter what, and giving Trundle a nice way in there as well. Just it's gonna be a pretty hard thing to just take down since you don't really have a good front line. Shen will generally be on a side lane when the engage actually comes through, and if you're not surviving that initial burst with the Shen shield, you're 100% going down.
Yeah, especially considering that it is Ignite on Basting, doesn't have the upgraded teleport, just has it normal from the quest, as Apathetic Badger's going to get caught out again, just too far forward. It's not your own jungle anymore, buddy. That's the enemy jungle now.
Yeah, but there is nothing, like, your best warding placement is over that wall, and he already had a ward there, so he goes for a little bit more and just gets immediately taken down on repeat at this point. I mean, 0-6 is a tough scoreline, but at this point, it doesn't matter that much. The mistakes have already been made from lane.
The gold you're giving out does not make that much of a difference at this point in the game. It feels like a lot of the positioning mistakes and a lot of the draft mistakes from early on, as we are going to have a pause here. And I don't want to harp on it too much, but I keep coming back to the draft. We see Zyra face up, pick 1, and we respond to it with Melio. We see Zyra and Trundle, and the first response is Melio?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like it.
I didn't like it and I was not proven to be anything other than me not liking it. I'm just not sure what the angle is either, because Melio can't really stop a lot of the pressure from Zyra. Zyra is mostly slows and her ult knockup. Like, yeah, you can if you get hit by E, that's just a mistake. But the main thing you have to try and survive is the slows and then the ultimate. Classic Riot Games lag right here. Give it a second as we are back into live. But yeah, it's just like, yeah, you're not really nullifying anything. The only thing I thought of was like, oh yeah, Melio can press Q and make the Trundle turn around for half a second. That's about it. And there are much better champions if you're just looking for pure peel in that position. So yeah, just a little bit
peel, looking for disengage, or even looking for something that could contest the Zyra in lane. You had other options as it's
40 stacks,
yeah, as we see there
18 minutes.
Stacks, 19.
We're homeless.
It's a little rough here for the Senna, and you can't even particularly blame. You can't blame the Senna themselves, but you have to again question the picks into this composition. You see the Zyra, and I don't think Senna's the call, no matter really what you pair it with, honestly. Senna just doesn't have the pressure to actually do anything about Zyra early in the game, unless you are truly conceding lane and just farming under tower, but we didn't really see that out of Darrow and Apathetic Badger either.
Yes, we do now see Basting trying to bait Karonix in.
Gets the taunt down, Gravity Well is down as well, Skarl dismounted, and with Weasel over the wall, picks up the kill again. Everybody rotated top lane, but now Darrow potentially in trouble. Zarkyros is going to force him to back off. Curtain Call will pick up shot number 3, shot number 2.
That would have killed if it hit.
It would have been damn close. Didn't end up getting it that time, but they will end up getting at least the kill, shutdown gold, and some bounty gold. But what are you losing for it in the meantime, as Rifttrail is going to be popped bottom lane, but rotate its happy way over to mid lane. Nice little bit of driving there from Jabber Jabber. We like to see the brain on when we're using Rift Herald, not just charging it to the nearest tower. That's good
drift time. Drift time. They're going to try and make it top lane. This is a tough drift here.
In the Mountain Dragon Pit too, can you make it? Do you have the turn? No, not a chance. A good attempt, but...
You have to go around the back, I'm pretty sure, but...
Root lands, Concerned Badger way out of position. Zarkyros using the Herald repositioning. Not Spiral Despair will land on Apathetic Badger. Can Icee get anybody out of here? There goes Badger. There goes Basting. Darrow will escape, and so will Lagging Weasel, but this should just be Baron over to Excessive Jellyfish Jammers at this point.
Yeah, at the respawn timer too, so or the spawn timer, 20 minutes in, so this is just going to be a pretty clean Baron, no contest possible. I do expect Lagging Weasel to go for it though, because you've got nothing else left in the tank. I know Baron steals especially have been nerfed just because the immediate gold is very much so nerfed from last season, but he will not be going for it, so we're going to be having a pretty chill, kind of pretty much late game here, where they're able to take over, as we do see kind of a replay, just a clip by Zarkyros over the wall. Concerned Badger, not
as soon as one slower root lands, everything else comes through.
Yeah, and then the entire team getting baited in, and Hunty landing a beautiful Spiraling Despair, able to just CC the opponent team enough to just guarantee that this fight is free. And now, I mean, we've said back against the wall more times than you can count at this point, so I think at this point,
their back is through the wall. Yeah, they are. They're looking into the next building.
Yeah, for sure. And now Lagging Weasel has to flash away. Just like that.
Rough stuff.
What's the cope angle?
What the my cope angle is what's the adaptation for game number 2 here, but also how cleanly are Jellyfish Chambers going to finish this one out? Because there's ways to finish this where you don't look that clean. They're going to look for a dive on a Basting, but he's Shen, he's fairly tanky. Now potentially Hunty in trouble, but Lagging Weasel just no tank stats, not enough damage, cannot pick up the kill. They're trying to defend their turret. Arcane Storm burn, Hunty taking quite a bit of damage. Concerned Badger has scaled it fairly well. The Stranglethorns won't find very much. Everyone from Icee will escape outside of Weasel, so not the worst loss, but then you look on the bottom side and Kyronex is just free pushing.
Yeah, and Zarkyros kind of just 1v4'd there, you know, pretty chill. I mean, your Zyra support with, I don't know, maybe like 7,000 gold 1v4ing the opponent team, but, you know, it is what it is at this point. We do see finally, you know, some inhib turrets going down. Maybe they're able to kind of stave off one of these inhibitors going down from the opposing team here, as Concerned Badger holding it down in top lane, as they will look for a bit of a mid play here, but Gauge is just not great. They do have all 5 here, but Emilio already chunked out extremely hard by the way. Not going to find any snipe here.
And again, my question is, what's the adaptation now for game number 2? Because obviously, Jellyfish Jammers knew what you had in the tank for game number 1. They saw this Senna or Emilio coming. They first picked the Zyra and said, we know what you're going to do, and we have the counter for it. You're not going to adapt. So now my question is for Icee, what are you going to do for game number 2? Because whatever your plan is, Jellyfish Jammers might have something for it, as Lagging Weasel's going to get caught by that Spiraling Despair and just absolutely deleted off the map. Shot number 3 doesn't land. Number 4 looking for Apathetic Badger, doesn't find him, but I think the rest of the team might as the spike comes through. A couple more autos, Hunty will find that last hit, and this is just shooting fish in a barrel at this point. Stand United left wanting a little bit as Darrow will fall, and Kyrenex just charges into the back line, making sure that Icee has to stay inside their base. One bit of shutdown gold picked up. Hunty does go down. Zarkiro's a little bit low. Basting maybe looking to pick up at least a kill on him. Gets an exit frag, but there's still 3 healthy members up for Sesu. And there's only 1 left for Icee. The wave a little bit distracted, but should be there soon enough. Apathetic Badger and Concerned Badger standing tall, defending their base for now, forcing the Jellyfish Jammers to recall. Some more exit frags to be had. 1,000 gold to shut down. Over to Lagging Weasel, and Jabber should go down as well. This should be all for Concerning. Another 1,000 gold to shut down. So not the cleanest finish for Jellyfish Jammers, but they're still up over 10,000 gold, so I wouldn't say we're getting concerned just yet.
I mean, hey, they got 4 shutdowns, probably of 1,000 gold each, and they're still down 10k. So, I mean, they're on the board. Let's put it that way. They're on the board. Some inspiring kills. Maybe if the gold is more even, they have a window back into this one. But this is a triple inhib. Luckily, no soul.
You know what? If they can stall, their Nexus turrets, those will come back. If they can stall, they'll make it back.
As we do see a replay of how this started. Lagging Weasel just getting caught behind a pillar. Oh, immediately gets rooted and then gets pillared. Yikes.
As much as I want to give, like, MVP shouts to Jabber for just having a great Trundle game, I want to give it to Hunty here for game number 1. This play has just been played immaculately. I feel like I haven't seen a mistake play from him all game, which is difficult to do on the play.
Yeah, I'd also give, I mean, shout out to Zarkiros too. I feel like just made that lane impossible for the side of, well, it's partially due to composition, but I think the Zyra's also been played quite well, so I don't know. Just kudos all around for a nice game so far, but it's not over as now they walk towards the base. Maybe we get some shenanigans. Who knows? Ain't
over till it's over. Nexus turrets down, like you mentioned, triple inhibs. It's the last line of defense for Icee. You can see in that picture-in-picture. We see the last remnants of the shutdown golds picked up there, and again, I feel like the fact that Weasel has gotten so much of this goal is not the shout for Icee. Base thing takes a lot of damage. Spiraling Despair does go wide, so the play ultimate not available for this fight. The Eye is going to find the root, and now Kyrenex is looking for the all-in. They found Darrow, and with the main damage down from Icee, can they find anything else? They found Hunty on the backline, but their Nexus is exposed, and Jabber says, I don't care about KDA, I don't care about stats, get me out of this game. Jellyfish Jammers take game 1.
Yeah, Jabber just doing the kudos, just, hey, let's get out of this one. We don't need to fool around any longer. We will be moving on to game 2 here. Hunty, I don't know if you noticed there at the end, had a proto belt. Are we for real?
This seems to be the flavor of the patch for every mid laner. I think I've seen genuinely in pro play, any mid laner matchup that I see, at least one of them has proto belts. The dash on it is just kind of good, whether you have something to combo with it or not.
Am I crazy? Did it get buffed? Like, okay, let me see this.
I think other items got nerfed around it, and people realized that having an extra dash on a short cooldown is very useful. 300
HP, yeah. 300 HP is pretty nice. 20 ability haste as well, so I could see it. I could see it, but definitely kind of just a funny thing to see Hui with a proto belt in.
The item's just good now. I don't know what to tell you.
In any previous year. I mean, it is what it is. And that game was also it is what it is, to be honest.
Oh, yeah.
We'll have to see some adaptation for sure.
Yeah. It felt like after the draft, we just were sort of scratching our heads and questioning, like, what does Icee actually do versus this composition? We had questions about the Pantheon bridging the gap for a lot of these scaling lanes. It didn't end up happening. We had questions for the bottom lane where you can see Kush getting out-damaged by his support. That's the Zyra gameplay, baby. That's just... I genuinely think this champion is really gross, and I'm glad that she doesn't see more play, and this is exactly why.
Just wait till they buff Zyra jungle because it's been too long since she's been relevant.
Yeah, because they will, and it will make support Zyra better, and I'm gonna have to start banning her, and I'm not gonna have fun with it.
That is the classic, of course. So this is one of those games where you just move on to the next one. Bot lane just got completely giga gapped, and
Giga draft gapped, honestly. I don't think there's anything. They didn't have any sort of like chance for mechanical outplays. They made a couple of mistakes here and there, but I think their biggest mistake was just trying to contest the lane pre-level 6, honestly. And as a bottom lane, if that's your big mistake that you tried to play the game before level 6, it feels like your draft left something to be desired.
Oh yeah, for sure. I definitely do think there were improvements in the draft that you could have made in this one, and definitely had an easier time. But also, play wasn't perfect. Like if you want to play just a safe lane, you definitely could have waited for the waves to crash on certain moments, and it wasn't actually coming true there. But I think it was just a good draft response. I feel like as soon as they locked Pantheon, it felt like every champion after that from XSV was just, hey, this Pantheon's not going to be able to play the game. That's just how it is. And that is exactly what happened throughout this one. And that was, as you said, their critical kind of bridge to that late game for them to unlock the Senna Victor scaling that would allow them to play it out. So pretty unfortunate game 1 here for Mint, but there is always another one.
There's always game 2, and that's what we're going to get to when we get to the other side of this break. We'll see you then for game 2 between Excessive Jellyfish Jammers and Mint Gaming Icee. We'll see you then. Welcome back, everybody. We are getting ourselves ready for game number 2 between Excessive Jellyfish Jammers and Mint Gaming Icee. I'm still Brady, that's still Golden Gad. And I feel like we don't have a lot of analysis left for game number 1, because that was just kind of a shellacking.
Hey, at least because of Fearless, they don't got to deal with Melio anymore. So that's just off the table. No option here.
They can't pick Melio again, and that's a benefit.
Hey,
Icee
they also
are now going to be
side
on...
select. Yep.
They do, and they're on the blue side here for game number 2. Excessive came out of the gate swinging. They definitely had an idea of what the plan was from Icee in game number 1, and I'm wondering if that is going to continue here in game number 2.
Yeah, the concept of a plan is a plan. So obviously here, they will be able to actually, maybe have to deal with a little bit more hardship in this one. So maybe with a new plan, they will be able to come out to a big lead in this one. We are seeing similar bans here from the side of Excessive, as we do see Jarvan and Wukong once again taken off the table. And Ashe is going to be a earlier ban in this scenario, making me think that they will just lock the Caitlyn immediately on this first pick. Just as a thought, now that Jin's also taken off the table, Zahen's going to be seeing the ban list once again.
There are other good champions. There's things like Xin Zhao, which has still been really strong even after his nerfs. Rumble is also pretty good. I don't know if I'd necessarily call him blind pickable, but Rumble is good. They will opt for the Xin Zhao, which I think is good. Give Lagging Weasel a strong jungler, and pick some lanes that aren't losing this time, please.
Yeah, we are seeing Xin Zhao locked in immediately, which I think makes sense. He's one of the strongest available. Are we immediately seeing Nasus jungle?
Okay, it's gotta be. It has to be.
Where's Griffin? Yeah, this is the Griffin special here. Obviously, a very bad matchup for Xin Zhao because he doesn't get to play the game if he goes in. So, once again, they're immediately going for the strategy of, what if we just make it so Lagging Weasel can't play the game in 2 games in a row?
Yeah, they're also grabbing the Seraphine to pick it away from Xin Zhao, which is one of his better support pairings for the support jungle duos. Karma is another good one, and if you're locking in Ezreal, I just assume you're also going to lock in Karma with this. Unless you're doing something like Yuumi, in which case I hate you forever and I'll never forgive you, but they go with a better option, they go with Karma.
Yeah, now with the Seraphine lock-in, you kind of want to pick something that can survive the lane, because, yes, Seraphine's pretty good as just a generalist, but Karma is quite good into this. So MF, maybe? Yeah, okay.
Okay, Misfortune, alright.
That's what I was thinking it would happen. We're getting the C9 draft, low-key. This is what's happening right now.
So where's Renekton in Italy?
Oh, well, that's later. Berserker, obviously, there was the clip of him just destroying C9 with MF into Ezreal, so obviously we'll see if that plays out again. But Sion going to be the one to hit the ban table after the Urgot. There is no Trundle now, so it's not as much of a safe pick to just lock the Sion, so it makes sense to see it get banned out here, as the Xante will also see the ban list.
Top lane bans.
Yeah, seems like Kironix does not want to deal with a tank.
Yeah, no tanks. I'm a little surprised to see Rumble untouched in this ban phase. We are going to see Ambessa gone, so it just depends on what Excessive wants to do. They need some source of magic damage. You have Nasus, you have Misfortune. Seraphine is there, but is not exactly built for damage in the support role. So it's just a matter of, are you blind picking mid, or are you blind picking top? And they're going to blind pick mid with the Syndra, which I think is alright.
Yeah, Syndra, definitely a good pick here. One thing you could be walking right into is an Akali, but Akali also doesn't really want to deal with Nasus. So I'm like, maybe, but it's going to be Lissandra here. More of a neutralizing pick. But
I'm okay with
where's your damage? Do you need like a Gwen top or something here?
Rumble's still good?
Entirely sure. Rumble, yeah, Rumble would work as well. Something carry, something's also, yeah, there you go. Rumble immediately locked in. So it was going to be one of those 2 champions just based off the draft so far. So it does make sense there. And what is the counter pick in top side? Rumble obviously quite safe. You could just lock an Ornn here. And it will be that.
I like that pick. I'm a little worried for Excessive now, potentially lacking in damage. Your late game is sealed. You have Syndra and Nasus who will be playing out late game fantasies, just saying, hey, we've got our stacks, we're ready to run over the enemy team. But before that, Nasus jungle isn't going to be providing a lot of early pressure. You have Wither for ganks, and yeah, you are really relying on this Misfortune Seraphine bottom lane to win lane. And that's against Karma Ezreal, which is not the easiest lane to navigate against. And you also have a Xin Zhao in the jungle, which, granted, Nasus does beat in a vacuum. Maybe not the best 1v or best 3v3 in the early game.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Mint has assembled a composition that should work coming into mid game. So at least this time, I don't expect a similar level of stomp. But that Nasus is pretty turbo. I'm not entirely sure how you're ever dealing with it.
Is that real that we're seeing in the bottom side?
Yeah.
The Karma Ezreal swap? Are we getting Apathetic Badger playing the AD carry this game?
Maybe Apathetic Badger is just the Ezreal GOAT. I don't know.
Ezreal, I assume that it's not going to be Ezreal support Karma farming, so I'm assuming that they're just going to
swap.
Yeah, they're just role swapping. Okay,
roll swap
all right.
Here.
No, never mind. It was a vote. All right.
Yeah.
As long as that's the case, nothing insane happening in this game. I'm interested to see how Nasus works in Vanquisher. We've seen him a couple of times in pro play now. He seems good in particular matchups.
Last split, this champ was turbo OP in the top lane. He won like 2 games on stream. It was similar to Set, where like Set seems terrible and then would go in game and just be Thanos. So, I don't know. We'll see how it ends up actually playing out here in game 2 of XSV Dirt versus
the Nasus. Walking up to eat a little bit of poke, then immediately walks away. That's the Nasus gameplay.
Yeah, classic. Trying to get that deep ward, unfortunately gets denied, and now Basting gonna try and make Jabber's life pretty difficult. Started E. This is actually a significant chunk here.
Scorch and Deathfire Touch. Ouch. Ooh, that's damage, yeah. Tyrannex will be able to poke him out a little bit here, but shouldn't end up denying him any XP. It is going to be a little bit delayed start for Jabber, but he also has the Siphon Soul passive plus the Fleet Footwork, so should have plenty of health in that jungle. You're not exactly worried about Nasus sustaining his way through the early game.
Yeah, definitely just a full power farmer, but it is good to know where the Nasus is, so you could potentially look for an invade from the Xin Zhao, but I just don't expect that to be the case. It's still very difficult just with the Wither being how it is, so it's more just for knowledge of how safe you can play, because at the end of the day, Wither is a really good ability, and it's never been changed ever, basically. So.
It is a crazy good ability that when you scale it up, it's what, a 95, 90-something%? It's high 90s slow. Also attack speed slow.
The attack speed slow is extremely annoying. Maybe one of my least favorite mechanics in the game. So we'll see how it goes. We are going to get a pause just immediately here. Not entirely sure the cause, but I'm sure it's something similar as last game. So we'll see. Next here, I will say, just based off of looking at the team's draft, I was able to predict it pretty well here for Excessive, and that just tells me one thing. They are watching these pro teams play, and they are taking notes, because this is like a bog standard draft of what you'd see if you're in NALCS. You know, you see the Xin Zhao, you lock the Nasus. You see the Rumble, you lock the Ornn. You see the Ezreal Karma, you lock the MF. That is like bog standard what you would do. Whereas it's been a little bit more of a variation here for Mint. Like what you'd expect to see into Syndra is something like the Akali or something like a Galio, but it ends up being Lissandra instead, which is not exactly a poor pick into it, but Syndra does have the range advantage there. And
yeah,
if your jungler is not there to capitalize when Lissandra wants to click R, you are going to miss out on a lot of kill potential here. So, that being said, I do like playing this Magic for Lissandra. It's not actually that bad, so have to see how Hunty's able to play
what perfect timing. I do
we'll
also
see.
think the Lissandra is good versus the whole comp of excessive Jellyfish jammers. It's not just the Syndra matchup that I think they're paying attention to. I do think they're also focusing on stopping Misfortune ultimates by getting access to backline, slowing down Nasus, stopping Ornn from getting his ultimate too. I like the idea of it into this composition at the very least.
Yeah. Just whether or not they can exploit the Syndra's, lack of mobility enough to warrant having to deal with this Nasus and a very heavy scaling Ornn on the top side, as now we are seeing exactly that.
Shove away, flash forward for that 3-talent strike, and Hunty will end up getting caught out here. First blood over to Lagging Weasel, and already a much better start. Early game jungler getting on the map early.
Yeah, Jabber trying to take the Gromp here. Pathetic Badger trying to put the pressure down.
Let's get a little heal. Daro jumps over the wall. Pathetic Badger doesn't have the cooldown to burn on the monster just yet. We'll get that double Q off. Lethal tempo stacked for Daro. Happy to just continue the pressure. They're not exactly feeling threatened. And now Jabber in the area has the Wither. Apathetic Badger slowed up, but do they have the damage to actually finish anything off with Badger in the area? But now no mana on the Lissandra. It's just autos coming down. Daro gets that Arcane Shift in. Jabber forced to flash away. Zarkiro surviving on a sliver of HP. Everyone manages to walk away for excessive, but they lose a lot on the trade. I don't know if that was worth it.
I mean, it was going to be a bad trade anyways, since, you know, Jabber was on the Gromp and they had no way of contesting the blue buff.
Alright,
just doing a little trolling. Big. Jabber should, or Lagging Weasel should be able to just grab this one up, so not going to matter too much, just a little bit of wasted time to give Nasus some time back on the map. Should be able to contest that top scuttle, but might just go straight towards the top lane here onto base sting, but you know, Nasus not exactly the best for ganking, especially with Curonix not having that ultimate just yet, so we'll have a more difficult time actually navigating this top side.
Still early in the game, still not feeling too much pressure, but the early 1,000 gold lead just off that first blood and some farming advantages for Icee. This is signs of life. This is what you want to see after a very difficult game number 1. You bounce back, you say, hey, game 1 a wash, whatever. We'll come back, we'll play game 2, we'll play it better this time around, and so far so good.
Yeah, I mean, as a, you know, just as a result of the last game, they decided, hey, well, we're just going to pick the strongest kill lane in the game, so let's just do that and see how it goes for the bot lane. And we're already seeing a lot better of a result. You know, is building quite a bit of a CS lead here. Will be another 6 minion plus after this wave crashes in. So yeah, we are definitely seeing a little bit better of a performance from here from Daro and Apathetic Badger. So it's a good sign to see. As we do also see Xin Zhao getting both Scuttle Crabs, and Nasus not even wanting to get into the area. Knows that this is the weak point in Nasus's game, but do eventually need to get the dog off the ground, so we'll see if that ends up pulling through here, as we do see a shove towards the bot side. But I mean, just even thinking about a dragon contest seems so unlikely, as now Concerned Badger and Lagging Weasel probably going to look towards Hunty, but still has the flash, didn't commit it on that first play, so should be relatively safe. But I imagine Concerned Badger is about to take over level 6, so definitely got to be a little bit more careful as this Syndra going into this middle portion of the game now.
The Scout of the Week can only do so much for you in these gank situations. You have to use it to either take a trade like this we see there, Hunty picking up some extra gold off of that first strike, or disengage from either the Lissandra or the Xin Zhao. You can't really do all three at once.
Yeah. You have to really leverage that range advantage Syndra has into Lissandra. But if you get a little bit too far forward or you don't land the Scatter of the Weak stun, you will be immediately jumped on by the Lissandra. That's going to be a difficult thing to deal with. Jabber does complete the recall on the bot side, and Kushin's Argyros should just be able to claim this wave, but this will be Dragon for Mint, as long as nothing crazy goes on in just a second, so pretty nice
Does XSV really
to.
care about losing the early dragon? I think for the composition, the answer might actually be no. Like, yeah, it will delay a potential Dragon Soul for them by an extra 5 minutes, but you're playing the scaling team. You have Ornn, you have Nasus, you have Syndra.
You have
Seraphine, as long as your bottom lane... Yeah, you have Seraphine as well. As long as Misfortune is okay with having a slightly weaker late game if you're building towards crit instead of the usual lethality build that I think we oftentimes see on her, I think you're feeling just fine. You just opt for something like either Hex Optics or Yuntal Wild Arrows. You have options to play more of a scaling type of game with Misfortune. And I think this is kind of just the better idea of what they wanted to do in game number 1. They're playing a scaling composition, but one that has more options, as Badger taking a decent trade with Hunty here. We'll miss out on that Ice Shard, but it's not too much damage at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think no matter what, though, MF probably will build the Hubers anyways, just so in case
Hubers
they do get into a scuffle. And that item's just broken. Yeah. So, should be able to just grab that and probably just sit on it for quite a while here, since Ezreal, of course, always the AD carry to take a bit of time to get fully online. So, give the extra time over to Mint to be able to get there. As you know, with the extra survivability from the Seraphine, it's just been very difficult to see kills
Or from Darrow, looking for some damage onto Kush. They'll get the root actually avoided. Kush will manage to sidestep the True Shot Barrage as well. Nicely played by the excessive bottom lane. Aggression from Icee, but they just stave it off very well.
Yeah, and this is a window now where you can maybe look for a kill onto Ezreal. No items besides the tier and a health crystal, so you know, definitely is a possibility, but there is some nice warding here on the side of Min, and Lagging Weasel will commit onto the grubs on the top side, so definitely exploitable, but they are going to go for the reset here, so not going to be in any dangerous way. And, no play to be had on that bot side here for the bot lane of Mint. Top lane also, you know, pretty expected. A little bit of a CS lead here for Rumble on the top side, but definitely not going to be the focus. It's mostly just a neutralizing lane here for the Ornn.
Yeah, shouldn't have a lot of kill pressure on the Ornn, and similarly, Ornn shouldn't have a lot of kill pressure back. Will be a counter jungle here for Jabber Jabber, noting that Lagging Weasel's on the top side of the map. Does have to be careful with pathing, can't go for any more with the lane states, but you know, as the jungle Nasus, you take a single camp away from your opponent, you feel good. Already on 162 stacks on that Siphoning Strike, that's a great start.
Yeah, that's going to hurt as soon as that Trinity Force does come through. That's going to be the path. I know the Zeeks is also a thing that people run on the champ, so we'll see what the build ends up being. But probably also there's the health, what is it? Protoplasm Harness. There's quite a few build choices for this.
First here, which I'm a little surprised by, honestly, but it's a good gold efficient item, so I guess it's alright.
Yeah, but usually at least see the
in his inventory.
Yeah, usually it's the Sheen plus the Protoplasm. Like, you don't finish the Sheen item fully until after, so probably what the Nasus is waiting for, which is also probably why he's not trying to pull the trigger anywhere. Just doesn't have the damage that you'd expect. But if this is the first, if this is a Protoplasm right here, I would expect it to just get completed. Koosh now taking a lot of damage.
Getting a decent trade back. Let's have to be careful with minions. Jabber Jabber's in the area, but so much damage burned onto Koosh. The barrier will keep him alive for a little bit longer. Darius the first one to go down inside the waves of the bullet time. Disrespecting the damage. Had Flash, died regardless, and that's a big win for the Jellyfish Jammers.
Yeah, the barrier plus heal bait, or just barrier plus Seraphine shielding, just enough to get through onto Daro, so yeah, it will just be the Protoplasm first item. No Sheen at all, just going to go for full, hey, I'm going to press W and I'm going to press Q, get my stacks when they come, so not really looking for the big pressure.
I want you to look in Misfortune's inventory. I'm so disappointed. This item is such bait. It's so bait. Hubris does what it does, but better. Hex Optics does what it does, but better. Oh,
I'm actually surprised too, because usually when I see an item choice I don't agree with, I'll look at the stat websites and see, oh yeah, that's exactly the item that the stats websites recommend. But no, it does say Hubris on the stats website, so unsure what the angle is.
It's a really good item.
Yeah.
It's like it's been nerfed about 100 times since it got added into the game. The item is so much worse than it used to be. 10 lethality is just not enough to actually have an impact. I've seen people build it on Pike too, and that one hurts me especially. Not only are you wasting the crit, you're wasting the execute. It pains me. It hurts me.
Hey, but what if you're trying to kill them with an auto attack?
Don't build Collector. Just don't do it. Kills every other lethality item in the game.
Imagine that first auto is a crit. You know, the one guaranteed auto with Pike. What if it's a crit? Then
just get the whole take Cyclo Sword if you want some extra damage. We've got a Scalpel here in the mid lane. Hunty eating a little bit of damage. True Shot Barrage won't find anything. Crescent Guard used by Lagging Weasel to try and get on top of Hunty. There's the Unleashed Power, but it's not enough damage. Lagging Weasel with the passive will survive. Eventually gives her the shutdown to Koosh, but now Darrow's in the area, getting plenty of work done. Trades across the board, but Concerned Badger and Darrow still alive. Jabber not able to do enough on the Nasus. A triple kill to the Lissandra. Traded back with a double kill to Jabber Jabber.
Yeah, and that was Lissandra without ult there in that fight, so just finding up damage after the Xin Zhao goes in, so able to just win out on that fight there. But yeah, really fortunate for them, Lagging Weasel, able to survive with the passive and find an extra kill they probably weren't going to be able to get otherwise, so pretty solid. And you gotta think, if my Nasus had Sheen there, are we not blowing up everybody in that fight? I thought that for sure it would be a Nasus just clean sweep on that fight, but fortunately didn't actually end up
miscalled that. I thought I saw Jabber getting a double kill, and I must have seen something wrong. It was kills over to Koosh, which I would argue is actually a better result. As much as you want Nasus getting jungle, your Misfortune getting online sooner is better. We'll get a replay of how exactly this fight started and how the Lissandra ended up playing this so well.
Yeah, Jabber just trying to find Lagging Weasel on the tail end there, but probably should have just went for Concerned Badger. Probably would be a very different fight. Instead, Daro able to come in on the side and do some damage, and Koosh is caught out.
Caught out. The rotate from Basting, who's looking for a dive here onto Zarkiros, but a little bit over-aggressive. Immediately flashes away from the turret. Does not want to get caught by any extra CC, neither does Lagging Weasel. So, decent little bit of disengage, a little bit of over-aggression from Icee, but Koosh caught out, and Jabber also dead again. I think caught out on that same play. Maybe we can catch a replay of what exactly happened down there while we were missing that on the replay.
Yeah, I will say in the meantime, Orange is free firing as we did get just in a play immediately. Apathetic Badger goes down, but with the Xin Zhao and a TP coming through, there was no potential survival for Koosh there, so just gets taken down. And then this is just a surprising flash from Basting, but trying to show full respect. But that is an Ornn with a full turret on the top side, I swear, when we pan back up there. Actually, no, he only got 2 plates.
I think
this
it's,
champ is
yeah.
depressing. Any other champion
Ornn
is killing that turret.
Yeah, Ornn doesn't have the most tower pressure. You're not also often taking Demolish on Ornn because you're not really thinking that you're going to get tower pressure. So you think you're playing the long con. You're saying, hey, I'm going to scale. I'm going to sit back up here. I'm going to chill. Everything's a vibe. We're all good. Everything's fine.
Yeah, Orange is sitting in this bush. We'll get spotted by
Basting. It's a decent bit of damage there with the Flame Spitter, but all of the magic is coming through for Ornn already. He does have Font of Life, surprisingly enough. So providing a little bit of extra healing to himself and his teammates when he gets some crowd control down, like right there. So we're starting to see the breakpoint hit, where Ornn can actually start trading back versus this Rumble.
Yeah, and, you know, especially, you know, just going for the, instead of a little bit more damage with the 10 boots, we'll just be going for the Swifties, just to guarantee the team fighting is solid, especially into the Nasus and the Misfortune. Seraphine as well, but, you know, that will be something to think about as far as these trades are concerned at the very least. Onyx will be taking a lot of damage, but should be no kill threat possible, but maybe we'll have to give up minions here in just a second. Just gonna recall here on the top side. Nasus.
Power teleport. He should be okay.
Yeah. Nasus on the top side as well, so we'll see the Rift Herald go down, but that's not gonna matter too much. Just progressing the stacking is highest priority. Apathetic Badger takes a bit of damage, but it's not gonna matter. We see some pretty nice vision line here for the bot lane of excessive Jellyfish Jammers. Not going to be too concerned here.
Gets a decent trade back there. Hunty taking the better of that half of the trade. So we got to play up here on the top side. Call the Forge God use. They're going to try and find Basting, but they're playing on top of that red carpet. Tyronic's going to take a ton of damage. Can they do enough to Basting? They can. They'll give it over to Jabber. And now Weasel in the area. But this is now the scale of the Nasus. Crescent Guard is there, but look at how much each Siphoning Strike does. Flash in with the wind becomes lightning, but he doesn't have enough damage. The knockup from Kyrenex beautifully played, and now the Unleashed Power. Self-use on that Frozen Tomb should just gift this over to Jabber. Jabber, if they wanted to let Hunty have it instead. And that's a massive win for the excessive top side. In the meantime, bottom side, they're going to win this trade as well. Koosh picks up Darrow, and it's traded back with Apathetic Badger. And even in that 1-for-1 support kill for ADC kill, if you're excessive, you take that all day.
Yeah, that's definitely something you will take there. Sarkiros wants to find more, but Apathetic Badger wants the kill here, does have heal.
W, forced the summoner heal out of Zarkiros, who's looking to continue this trade. I think I'm a little surprised by it, just relying on the minion autos to do a ton of damage, but not enough as Jabber now in the area with the Dead Man's Plate. Not fast enough to hunt down the Karma, but definitely a scary threat.
No Sheen, by the way. This is still no Sheen on this Nasus. I don't know what's going on.
Need it. I have 300 stacks on my queue. What is a Sheen when I can just be tankier? As we'll get a replay of how exactly this top side started.
This reminds me a lot of the Mosquito Darius, which you did not see last split, but as we now see Nasus just able to walk up. Yeah, Basting has the Swifty boots, but that's not really going to help you in a scenario where you're actually getting CC'd. And Chronix does a great job here of just baiting out this play, and then eventually Lagging Weasel has to pull the trigger because he's just died to the late damage just from Jabber. Finds the W, and a great knockup comes through. Another +12 over to Jabber, and I'm honestly shocked that they didn't just give this to Jabber just to accelerate the dog even more, but decides to give it over to the Syndra. Not going to have too much in Koosh.
We get a replay of what happened on the bottom side. Yeah, Darrow eased forward, and that's just too much damage.
Oh, they recommit for the trade. Koosh walks very far forward, and Darrow just doesn't expect the damage to come through. Just auto reset after auto reset here for Koosh, and will be taken down. Rift Herald committed in the picture-in-picture, but not going to be able to find the turret kill.
We did see Hunty get caught, so they committed the Rift Herald after that, which I think is the right call. The thing I'm worried about for Icee now is, in the replay, we saw they were about 1,000 gold ahead, but now after these couple of plays, the gold is even. And when you're playing even versus a scaling team, in reality, you are losing. This is not the situation you want to find yourself in.
Yeah, and they couldn't even claim the first 2 early Drakes. Like, one of the Drakes actually did go over to Excessive, so you aren't, progressing the game over to position that really wins you it. Zarkiros could look for an ult here, maybe look for a play, but Hunty wasn't in the area just yet. Pathetic Badger playing very aggressively. I am shocked. Yeah.
This is kind of what you have to do in Karma. You got to play the aggro. You have to try and be in the face of your opponent, especially when you're playing the range versus range, because you don't get a lot of opportunities otherwise. You just have to be a little careful that you don't overstep your bounds. You need to have a teammate nearby, the Xin Zhao, the Lissandra, somebody who can give you some support.
Yeah, great ward here on the back of the blue pit here. So they are getting a lot of vision onto what Zarkiros is up to. Mana brush control now, given over Excessive. Daro trying to make a way in, lagging.
Lagging Weasel looking for it in 2000. Smite comes through, but it's Jabber to find it. Lagging Weasel's going to insect Zarkiros back, but a great flash is going to find the encore run to 2. But do they have enough damage to follow? The bullet time just doesn't do a ton of damage this early in the game, but Zarkiros survives just long enough to get the ultimate off. Kush ends up falling. It's a double kill over to Concerned Badger. Hunty now forces the Scatter Weak to try and get away, and it's just Kyranex left. Gets caught by the Root and auto away on the Blast Plant. He'll be able to walk away a little bit further, but not far enough. So close to picking up a couple of kills, but it's an ace for Icee. They lose the dragon, but they take the fight.
Yeah, massive angle there from Basting and Concerned Badger on the back line. So able to just blow up Hunty and Zarkiros just to start that fight, as we do get a replay now of how it went down. So the positioning is a little bit awkward just because they have full vision on that back side of the pit, and as soon as Scatter of the Weak is committed, Lagging Weasel sees an angle to go in. They do look for the Drake here, which I thought would have been a disaster, but there just wasn't enough damage on a Lagging Weasel immediately, especially with that ultimate coming through. Zarkiros tries to go for the flashy play, but Misfortune ult just going a little bit wide. If it goes left there, there's potential for just a full teamfight wipe, but that isn't the case, and Daro's able to survive out from a lot of that damage. Hunty doesn't have the damage to close out any kills here on the Concerned Badger, and Chronix TPing just slightly later than Basting is just going to mean fight is all but over.
Yeah. Now, I would never blame an entire fight on someone's item having choice, but I do want to say if that was Reverse plus an Infinity Edge, Kush probably gets a kill there with the ultimate.
You know, that is an alternate timeline that I can entertain.
An alternate timeline that we can entertain, but unfortunately we'll never see, as Thera's going to eat a chunk out of that little bit of poke, as he's looking towards the top side objectives now. Baron has spawned up. I don't think either of these teams will just start it raw, but they want control of the pit. Concerned Badger on the bottom side has the teleport out of Lissandra, though, so he'll be able to get towards the team regardless. Now it's just jockeying for position in lanes, in the mid lane and top lane, and just trying to make sure that you are in a spot to take advantage of a mistake when the next objective comes around.
Yeah, as we do see just pretty good spread of gold throughout the entire map. Pretty big advantage in the jungle as well as just in mid. 2,000 over in the mid lane, so the Syndra definitely not feeling comfortable against the Lissandra Xin Zhao, which is probably how that should go. Means that they are definitely in a much better position. We talked about how the scaling advantage will eventually come to burn them, but I wouldn't say they're in such a poor position that they can't win out from here. But the second Drake is a little bit concerning, considering I don't foresee this game ending in the next 10 minutes, so there's a considerable advantage just positionally here for Excessive. Jellyfish jammers as Nasus keeps on stacking, but that's going to start mattering less and less as the game goes on, and we really need to see the Syndra come fully online with that build in particular. Cosmic plus the burn item, definitely lacking the straight up damage that you would expect of the Syndra, but a little bit more flexibility as far as the champion's concerned with the Cosmic.
Oh, the Forge God top side. We've seen this play before. The knockup lands even after the flash, but they're not going to commit to the play. They're just happy taking the flash and walking away.
I'm surprised for that they didn't just commit for that. That turret is all but dead to one Nasus Q, so you could have potentially just went for the raw dive with no minions and maybe just found the kill anywhere onto Basting. So we'll just be lucky enough to survive with just a flash committed. Didn't want to risk anything else. Lagging Weasel on the bot side here just to play behind with Concerned Badger and Hunty. Dangerous position.
Trouble, gets the Scatter of the Weak onto Weasel. Will manage to just walk away. Those upgraded Mercury treads, making sure that CC is not as much of a threat on to this Syndra. And it's just continued wave clearing defense for XSV Jellyfish, and I think they're okay with this. It was better, obviously, when they were not 4,000 gold behind before that dragon fight, but I think they're still feeling in an okay enough position. Syndra's almost transcended 109 stacks on that passive. Nasus has been continuously farming pretty much this whole game, as Darrow's going to get a little bit of poke down. And Jabber, I don't think you're allowed to be here. Zarkiro surely isn't. Teleport coming in, the Encore finds no value. Badger now unstoppable, summons onto Jabber, pulling him out of the blast cone, and that's a second kill over to Concerned Badger. Red carpet burned down onto Hunty. Are they going to look for this kill? Great scout of the week finds the stun onto 3. A couple more stacks for Hunty, but great pick for Icee. Now what can they find with it, with that extra bit of map tempo?
Yeah, just Banana Brush Vision playing tricks on them. They did not see the people around the corner. They only saw the Ezreal, so get immediately capitalized on, and Basting doing a good job of just moving around the map. You know, it is giving Ornn time, but we talked about it earlier, Ornn doesn't really matter with the time. It's not killing 2 turrets like a Gwen or a Fiora or an Olaf, something like that, so definitely a little bit more chill. This will net them that second Drake here, so giving them some good control. And I mean, I can kind of understand the Nasus not going the Iceborne Gauntlet that you typically see on this build, but also it's because there's not that much AD threat, but at the end of the day, you built a Dead Man's Plate, which might as, you know, that is an armor item, so I'm just not entirely sure why you wouldn't go the Iceborne Gauntlet in that scenario. Yeah. So just confusing for me personally, but I'm sure Jabber has his own little reason for it. Maybe just concerned about actually being able to get to these fights on time. But you know, the besides the Lissandra, like the go button isn't that strong here for Mint, so it is quite surprising to me.
Yeah, we are starting to see some of these Ornn item upgrades handed out as Zarkaros way out of position. Darrow just happened to Arcane Shift forward into his face. Jabber eating a bit of damage. The Inspire from a apathetic Badger getting them through. The bullet time just does not find a lot of value. Dominus popped from Jabber. Dominus is his brother's ultimate. That's I know the name of this. Right of the Ascension? Yes. Fury of the Sands. Right of the Ascension, I think, is someone else's. Yeah. And Badger jumps forward there, but Jabber not too threatening at this point. Nice little stun there from Hunty.
Man, this Syndra does a 0 damage. It is actually
kind
of sad to watch.
I don't like the Cosmic Drive second, especially if you're doing this burn build.
Yeah. Did at least swap the item slot to give the burn item the actual Ornn upgrade here, but yeah, I don't know. I think the choice to not have a Iceborne Gauntlet turns your really good Xin Zhao matchup into a, I mean, I guess
a decently good. It's a decently good Xin Zhao matchup.
Yeah, it's still decently good, but it should be like, oh, Xin Zhao can't play the game if this is an Iceborne Gauntlet. So I don't know. I'm just a little bit confused on this one. 4K gold is not the worst here for the side of XSV, but they only have so many more mistakes they can make as far as positioning is concerned. It feels like that's been a difficulty for them when the map doesn't look so good for them and they're trying to contest space. They don't show the respect needed to be able to navigate it. So I'll have to see how it goes with now the Baron obviously up, and next straight coming up in 2 minutes 30. They do have to set up those lines to be able to contest.
Yeah, still time for them in this game to scale, but the window is, I wouldn't say quickly closing, but it is closing on them. They have to find some fight that they can actually win here to take an advantage and actually take the game for themselves and take the series.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's just going to get to a point where, well, the Seraphine MF is going to have to combo, and if it doesn't work, they're going to lose. So, I don't know. I'm not exactly sold on the fact that we should put all the eggs in the MF basket. With the Syndra building a little bit more supportive and the Nasus building a little bit more supportive. It really does just lie on Kush now. And you just don't have that time with the composition XSV has drafted. Like, this Lissandra, Rumble, and Xin Zhao are just going to skip all the zoning phase that you need for MF to be a successful champion. Daro taking a lot of damage. I will say, Daro has felt like the one person they've been, you know, kind of targeting as far as team fights are concerned. So assuming they're able to catch out the Ezreal, maybe there just won't be enough damage, but I feel like if Basting's there, it still should be quite fine for them.
Yeah, you also have to consider catching out the Ezreal when not only is it Ezreal, also has the Karma behind him, also has the Mikhails, just to make life even more difficult. And speaking of catches, Hunty now potentially in trouble. When becomes lightning is going to land. Lagging Weasel just needs a little bit more chase down. Not even necessary on the play. Concerned Badger just has that 1v1.
That Q just did 2 damage, I swear, against that Scourge out.
Just about. Encore finds value onto 1. They may have found the pick onto Apathetic Badger, but with the Mikhails, with the cleanse, the heal, gets himself out of dodge. Now looking for the pick on the lacking Weasel, who has that Crescent Guard. Archeros a little out of position, a little in trouble, flashes into the enemy team. Nothing doing there, and now Daro happy to free fire over the wall. Arcane Shift hops over, has to flash back a little bit in the face of the orb. Flash in from Koosh, finds the kill, finds 2 off the extra auto. Picked up something on the back half of the play at the very least, but excessive Jellyfish Jammers just on the run here in game number 2.
Yeah, not the worst pickup there from Koosh, just to try and turn the play around just a little bit, but I mean, just a little bit sloppy here from XSV, and as I said before, it's all in the Koosh basket. They don't really have too much more to rely on, so it does find a little bit of work here, but still, you're going to have to be finding uphill for the rest of this game. We do see how it started off. Concerned Badger just committing the flash. We do see a kill on the picture-in-picture. Xin Zhao getting taken down in the mid lane. Trying to find Hunty, it seems, but just not being able to exploit him once again. And now, even Basting's getting forced out with the Nasus in the picture-in-picture, so kind of in a bad position. I think we're going to go live here. Concerned Badger forced to ult.
Forced to use the ultimate self side there instead of on an enemy team. That's a big amount of healing for the Mikhails from that Mantra shield. But with the ultimate, the call of the Forge God, ram horns through. Kyronix finds the knockup on the 2. A huge amount of damage can come through. Zarkiros and Kyron X combo together to shut down this team fight. Huge amounts of gold over to the Ornn, forcing everybody away. Daro tries to chase down Kyron X, but nothing doing. The Ezreal doesn't have the damage into him. And excessive Jellyfish Jammers find their angle and launch themselves back into this game.
Yeah, Mint found the one way that they could lose, and now Daro gets caught as well. That is a full ace here from excessive Jellyfish Jammers. They get the dragon. They most likely will also try and translate this into the Baron, but it most likely won't.
They
have
get this
them
turret at
Lagging
the
Weasel
very
back.
least.
But this is all off the play of Lagging Weasel looking for a solo kill onto Hunty and just not expecting the Nasus to be in the area. And, you know, we were talking about like this game like it was over after that top lane fight, but
yeah,
pick after pick after pick, and excessive Jellyfish Jammers have found their way back into the game, now up in gold after
and if it ended
pretty
up being
disastrous.
if it ended up being just one pick, if it was just Lagging Weasel getting caught here, maybe you lose the dragon, that's fine. You most likely don't lose Baron with the lower respawn timers this early on into the game. But it's the picks after this that I have the questions about. Basting already burned the TP, was just trying to make something out of this play, but it just doesn't feel like the right call.
Yeah, nice stun from Hunty there. Denies Concerned Badger from entering. It really puts him in a terrible position with the Ornn TP coming through. And Duronic says, I got this one, and just immediately smashes the Santra out of the game there, and then a nice double stun onto Basting. Pathetic Badger. Final kill coming in from onto Basting here, and then Daro eventually on the extended play just gets caught out by a Scatter of the Weak on the end, and another kill going over to Excessive. This is a disaster sequence here for Mint. Icee, we were talking about how they're looking pretty good, but mistake after mistake after mistake, and that's it.
It felt like the game was out of their hands. It felt like Excessive, they had the scaling composition, but they didn't get a foothold in the game. But with a couple of clean picks, and I think importantly, a couple of mistakes punished by Icee, now suddenly gold lead in their hands, about 2,500 gold up, Baron buff as well. Nasus is sitting at just around 570 stacks. It's a little bit slow on the scaling, but what exactly happened here? First it was Basting who was caught out of position with Lagging Weasel in the area. So they get that pick, and then I guess they just chase down Apathetic Badger.
Yeah, there's no way out here. The Wither comes through, and another Wither's gonna come through before Badger's able to get away. So just 2 picks immediately. Basting caught shopping, typing. I'm not too sure, but that'll be a disastrous mistake. After
Changing the music. Can't be doing that mid-match.
Yeah, this is a little unfortunate now. Baron in the hands of Excessive here. They're going to be trying to force out this top lane turret, and a double stun comes through. Concerned Badger
looking for the back line. Zarkuros is caught out. They've got the damage down. Plenty of damage being blocked by that ultimate from lagging Weasel. Kyrenex finds the knockup on the other side of the fight, but in the meantime, trades on trades happening in the back line. Feasting finding some damage there with the equalizer. Hunty will fall. And then just as we were saying, Icee threw the game away. They make a great play to come back, clear the board of Baron buffs. Kyrenex with the Protoplasm will survive a little bit longer, but should just get chased down here. It's just a matter of not giving him a kill back, and they should grant it over to Concerned Badger this time, not Daro. A beautiful ace for them, and that's going to negate the Baron buff advantage and swing them back into the game as well.
Yeah, Concerned Badger did a great job in that fight. Just completely, I mean, honestly, just took over. Really no one else to highlight in that one. Felt like that was just a solid play from them. It is just now an even gold game. It was, you know, at least they're able to even it back up, but we talked about earlier, scaling advantage over to them. But watch Concerned Badger here. Nice immediate stun, dodges away from the Encore as well, and then neutralizes a lot of damage. And Goosh just doesn't have a good angled ult here, since Lagging Weasel still has the ult ticking, and Concerned Badger goes, re-engages, find the MF on the backline, and that is your MF dead. Will be just a chase out on Neutronics, and they find a way back after some pretty repeated mistakes, but will it be enough to actually close out this game? That is the real question here.
I feel like that's kind of been the story of this game. Some mistakes being punished, but also just Kush on this Misfortune not being allowed really to find a good angle on this ultimate, has not been able to have a good combo. Normally when you see Misfortune plus another AoE CC ultimate, like the Call of the Forge God, like the Encore, the big thing you're looking for in the team fight is, okay, Kush will ult at some point in this game when 2 or 3 people are CC'd and the fight will end. That will be it. It will be over. Game will be won. We haven't seen that yet.
Yeah,
still waiting for that moment.
I feel like it's just been Zarkuros playing a little too aggressively, but now they found
Wasting. Kyrenex finds the knockup just onto 1. Encore finds 2. Here's the ultimate. There's the shred. Apathetic Badger gets taken down. Kush in the meantime is taken down to the backline though. The re-engage from Icee is damn good. Darrow will eventually fall, but do they have enough damage? Jabber surviving on the backline for so damn long, siphoning their souls. It's a double kill over to Basing, and Kyrenex is the last one left alive. It's a 2-on-1, and I don't think Kyrenex will have this in the bag. Trying to heal as much as possible, but he can't do it. Basing and Concerned Badger stay alive, manage to stay strong in the team fight, and it's an ace for Icee.
Yeah, Basting barely surviving, gets out of the Zhonya's like half a second earlier than the Syndra, able to find the kill. But Kush getting bursted out by Daro and Concerned Badger, despite a beautiful ultimate, the target selection just wasn't there. If this Horn ult goes slightly more to the left, to the left, yeah, it just immediately ends. But unfortunately, that is not the case, and a good ultimate here from Basing as well is ticking on Kush's HP bar. So even though he flashed away from a lot of the damage coming through, just that proxy damage from the burn comes through, and Hunty unable to find the kill on the Basing means that this fight is done. Jabber not able to feel enough to get away from Concerned Badger, and barely coming out with some small margins here, but the game is still not over. I don't even think that the Drake was at least claimed here for Mint in the picture-in-picture. So 3-3. We will have the Baron up as the next objective, 1 minute away. And, it's one clean ace from either team here, and the game most likely ends.
Not just a game of inches. This is a game of millimeters. Of 1 degree, 2 degree differences in these team fights. Kush in that Dragon Pit fight, finding a little bit more to the left on that ultimate. Kyrenex just firing that ultimate, again, a little bit more to the left. But these teams have been fighting so hard, and I want to shout out again Icee for keeping the morale after game number 1 is such a difficult thing to do when you get, to be blunt, the bricks beaten off of you that hard. When you get beat up that badly, it is very easy to say, they're just the better team this week, that's whatever. We'll find our win next week, it's whatever. GG's, fellas. Well, I'll catch you next script.
Yeah.
But this is a team that has kept their head in it. They've managed to stay strong and have made this game that has been their lead for most of this game incredibly competitive. This is good stuff to watch.
Yeah, I mean, this is a honestly, just a really good performance out of Concerned Badger. I gotta commend it. Basically,
Yeah,
every fight played
if Icee
extremely
wins
well.
this, it's Badger's MVP. If Icee wins this, it's Badger.
But you still got to deal with an Ornn. Now everyone's Ornn itemed up, and that's going to be pretty difficult to deal with. You know, we are still seeing, you know, the Syndra's not doing that much damage, so it really still is a lot on Kush, and somehow Jabber, even without a damaging item,
I want to see
putting
it.
it
I want
through
to see a
anyways.
Death Cat last item for the Syndra. I want to see it. Just some damage in your inventory. The Zhonya's is good. It'll help you stay alive longer, and you know it provides a suitable amount of AP nowadays. Especially, it provides a decent chunk, but you just need some big spike. You have that Transcendence passive that gives you extra AP. Sitting on 472 with the Death Cap, you jump to like 700, maybe a little bit more. As Two-Shot Barrage sidesteps, everybody gets away from it. And the Baron Dance begins. Nobody wants to start it, but everybody wants control of the pit.
Yeah, Jabber really just trying to test the waters here. We'll get a little bit of control here on the Banana Brush. Obviously very important as far as that. Hunty now, looking for a bit of a stun, not going to go get it onto Daro, who, you know, without the Karma in the area, is definitely susceptible to getting bursted if something goes wrong. So, we'll be a little bit more careful, but look at the HP bar on the Ornn. If they don't get through the initial line to hit other people,
Jabber as well is fairly tanky, who's just trying to start this fight here. Call the Forge God. We'll find value. Will knock up on 1 on 2. But where's the ultimate from Zarkuros? Where's the ultimate from Kush? There's the Encore. The bullet time is just not going to find enough value. As Concerned Badger into the back line, deletes the bottom lane, deletes the mid laner as well. A triple kill for the Lissandra as she falls, as Jabber will pick up the shutdown goal, but a valiant death as the fight ends up being 4-for-1 in favor of Icee.
Yeah, and they're going to try and end the game here. Respawn timer's very long, 35 seconds on the nearest member. And I'm not sure the Nasus on his lonesome is going to be able to fix this one. Frozen Heart is available, but that wave is thick. Trying to get through it is not going to be easy. Tries to go for it.
Try and pick up the wave. Just going to get CC'd up first. Nexus turret is going to go down. The shield's so massive from Apathetic Badger. Basting a Darrow. Do not care about the Nasus. They just want the Nexus. They just want the turrets. They just want to send this to game number 3.
Yeah, that was quite the barn burner here, but Concerned Badger showing what's up. Able to carry this game over the finish line. Finds Kush on the last fight. If that ult ticks anymore, maybe the game is just completely different here. But man, extremely close here for Mint Icee, but they'll take it nonetheless. Send us to game 3 for themselves. And man, though I'm sweating because they should have had that in the bag, as we do get a replay here on that final fight. Keronix wants the fight. Lagging Weasel does get taken in immediately.
These are not the targets who want that Ornn ultimate. The front line, the Lissandra, who's not any threat, and the Xin who's already pressed R. It's just no threat.
Yeah, just
and then you see
flashes
Badger in his back line. Oh, disgusting.
Yeah, if that doesn't happen, I'm not sure how that fight goes. I think it's much worse positioning for Icee, though. I will say on top of that, Syndra at least tried to go for the kill. You know, as soon as that brittle comes through, they just didn't have any position since Xin Zhao kind of broke through the front line and kind of prevented any immediate follow-up from Kush. So Concerned Badger just completely untouched, and Daro given some time, basting nice ultimate on the backside with no flash from that 80 carry. So works out quite well for them. So just going to skate away with the win. That's the way I'll put it. Not exactly, you know, there are times they slipped and tumbled,
here and there. So there's some questionable decision-making in plays, but Concerned Badger and Darrow did not want to lose that game. And just such an impressive performance from the two of them. And that's really what you want to see from your mid and 80 carry in a game like this. When you need them to step up, by God, they stepped up.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the build choices were pretty questionable from XSV.
There were some questionable build choices, I think, all around, but mostly from the mid carry of XSV. I mean, Jellyfish Shivers. I'm not gonna.
You maybe want the Iceborne Gauntlet on the Nasus, but
yeah, maybe a Sheen item for Nasus, maybe some more damage items for Syndra, maybe not a collector in the inventory of Misfortune. But regardless, I think it was more on Icee playing well than XSV really making mistakes. They had a similar draft to what Icee had in game number 1, where they had scaling lanes. but this time they had a scaling jungler instead of one who needs to play early game. It just didn't end up having any sort of that bridge in the mid game. So when they got behind, it was very difficult for them to actually get back into the game. And granted, they found their opportunities, but then they just kind of got hand stiffed by Concerned Badger.
Yeah, I mean, Lissandra's pretty hard to actually deal with in this draft, and just so happens that it came out to an early lead, as you do in the Syndra matchup, if your jungler's actually there, and sure as hell he was there, so just works out for them in that one, and despite some throws, bridges the gap. They're able to close out this one, and we're going to game 3, and we'll have to see how it ends up going there. You know, as far as strong bot lanes, I feel like you gotta lock one in here for Daro. It just seems like that's a better way to play
Daro
it out.
a champ that he can put his hands on and say, I'm going to win the game, because that was an impressive Ezreal performance. And we will have to see exactly how good his performance is in game 3 when we come back on the other side of this break. So don't go anywhere. We'll see you then. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for sticking with us with that slightly longer than average rate. But we're ready for game number 3. Teams are set up, and now it's just a matter of the draft. I'm still Birdie. That's still Golden Gad. And that was a heck of a game number 2. Mint Gaming coming back with force, setting the series to 1-1. And one of these teams is going to have to walk away from this week undefeated. Sides staying the same. Now just the question is, how are the drafts going to adapt with all these fearless picks gone away?
Yeah, for teams with same record, it did make sense that the game would go back and forth at least one of these games. Fortunate for Mint to come away with a win. Hopefully, XSV, if they have a coach, definitely talk to them during that break about some questionable decisions, but we'll not get too much into it now. Obviously, fearless pools are pinched. Caitlyn was something that was on the ban table before, and it's still available. So I expect it to at least see presence a little bit. Ashe probably going to get banned right here. Watch this. Nope, never mind.
Ooh,
they want a first pick hit.
Okay.
So now the choice up to XSV here on whether they actually want to ban out the Zehen again, or is it going to be an Ashe pivot? So it will just be the Zehen once again. They don't want that flex running around. Obviously, one of the best champions to pick into those crucial tanks, which Chronic so far has, liked. Besides, I mean, Kled's kind of a tank, kind of a not. A little bit more of an aggressive option here, as we do see that Ashe expected pickup here after the Scion ban as well, so makes a lot of sense. Now, what is the AD carry response? You could go the Caitlyn. You could also go something like Corki or even a mage. Will be Mel.
Yeah, I was about to say, you could do something like Mel. I would normally say like Mel or Hui bot, but Hui is already gone, so Mel probably would be the mage to pick into Ashe. The Reflect versus the Arrow is just kind of good. Sejuani blind here. I guess with no Trundle, it is a little better, especially with no Xinjiao as well, who is another champion who can kind of take advantage of her. But we just need to see some melees now for XSV. They need something that's going to help the Sejuani actually activate that passive, not just leave her high and dry. As we see Nocturne, I wonder if it's just going to be Orianna versus a potential Mel mid lane, as this is still flexible. They're going to opt to blind pick Cassante instead. All right.
Yeah, pretty interesting. Just opting for the Cassante, that kind of gives every option open to XSV here. You could just see a Gwen lock in here, and it feels pretty good. But we are just going to be seeing a Vayne, so this is threatening both the counter pick into the Cassante.
Is this Vayne top? Are we Vayne top versus Cassante? Are we doing this?
This is most likely where we're going to go, is what I'm going to say right now. But
then where's your melee?
Your melee is not top lane, I'll tell you that. So I expect a Galio or an Akali in the mid lane here. Maybe a Yone as well. Could make sense, but not exactly the easiest champion to play into as that Cassante if you are going to be playing Yone or Akali for these team fights. We will see Orianna get banned out, and Annie really leaning hard on that Yone, I think.
These make sense.
It could also be something like a Sylas angle, but I want to see a little bit more champion, so I'd hope they save that pick for last pick. They will be getting support counter picked, though, if that is the case.
Yeah, with the supports being trimmed down in pool. The Anivia lock-in tells me that it is going to be Mel in the bottom lane, so that means it is going to be Vayne up there in the top side. You're not really going to pick Vayne into the Ashe regardless. I was thinking, actually, since Orianna is gone, another champion that combos well with Nocturne is that Galio. And yeah, you're going to struggle a little bit versus these range matchups. Obviously, Galio versus Anivia is not the most comfortable matchup, but you build the magic resist anyway. You're not really feeling too threatened. Especially because it's going to be a double mage composition with a lot of crowd control. You're kind of okay picking a melee mid laner here.
Man, Sejuani's so homeless right now. Maybe just a Nautilus with the Mel. Yeah.
Alistar, Nautilus.
Poppy. I like
Poppy's. Yeah, Poppy's good into this. I'm okay with the Poppy. I don't know about the rest of the draft. I like the Poppy though.
Poppy should be able to at least help with the global pressure that's coming from a Nocturne Galio. If you can knock away either of them immediately on arrival, that could be very big for you. But man, Sejuani's got a lot to do. No melees. You're not playing to any synergies at all. You are just clicking R and hoping your team has the damage.
Yeah, and then you look over at Icee, which has Ashe on its own, which is fairly good. You have Nocturne Galio, which is a good mid-jungle duo. Rakan for Engage obviously might struggle into Poppy, but if Poppy's focusing on the Rakan, she's not looking at Nocturne, she's not looking at Galio, she's not looking at Cassante, who obviously in lane in the 1v1 will not have a good time versus Vayne. That's going to be a struggle. But in team fights, has a chance, has an opportunity to find some value.
Yeah, I think that the thing is they can't really pull the trigger on excessive kind of draft because you're not going to be wanting to play the Sejuani as like this engaged one. Besides clicking R, you're probably going to want to be playing it much more peely, where you're just kind of standing on your carry and waiting to press Q when Nocturne, Galio, Rakan ever go in. But that still doesn't feel that great because Ashe free hitting is Ashe free hitting. That's still going to be difficult. They do have a significant range advantage with the Mel and Nivea. And then Vayne's able to kind of play the side and maybe look for a big play. So it's really going to come to some individual play for the most part on the side of Excessive, where it feels like Mint has drafted the composition that if they work as a team and are able to find some nice angles where they can get around Zarkuros's disengage, they should be in a pretty good spot to take this one.
And we're going to have to see who takes this one as we jump onto the Rift here. It's the last game of the day here for Vanquisher. Game 3, Excessive Jellyfish Jammers and Mint Gaming Icee. We'll keep our eyes on this for Sejuani, who is opted to go Aftershock, which I think is probably objectively the correct call, but he's now going to take a little bit of poke as Hunty will land a stun, just trying to trade blows to get that vision down. They really want this first ward on this Raptor camp. As both of them ward it, where's the communication? Mid-jungle! They at least throw up. They at least throw up the fist bumps. You know what? They understand. They get it.
Yeah, you know, I will say, if Jabber builds similarly to last game, at least it's on brand this time. So,
yeah, I'd like to not see any damage items on my Sejuani, actually.
Oh, but like,
have
you tried Dusk and Dawn Sejuani? It's so fun.
I have not.
And so not troll. I swear.
Yeah. Decidedly not troll. I'll believe you on that one, as it is going to be a ward over onto the Raptor pit for Jabber, so he will get spotted out on this top side clear. Lagging Weasel not seen on the Raptor camp, so I think the expectation is a top side clear for him, as well as, yeah, this is what Vayne Top does. Base thing just being forced to use E level 1, which never feels good on a top laner, especially on Cassante, because you don't have your main trading ability, and yeah, I think if we ever pan up top lane, we are really just going to see Basting taking a lot of damage and Kyronex having a great time.
Yeah, I do want to just see that Kushin's Arcuros have a good lane here, because if you can force Lagging Weasel to have to spend time on the bot lane, it would just be much better for them. Oh yeah, we do have a sub actually. You are correct there. We got Binko Bunko in over Daros. So, you know, not sure what caused that swap up, but maybe just had to go. So I'm gonna leverage the substitution here, just to be able to keep the game going.
Yeah, honestly, kind of a big sigh of relief for if you're an Excessive player, because Darrow was performing out of his mind in that game number 2 just to keep the series alive for them, and not having him in game number 3 I think is a big advantage, as Kyronex in a lot of trouble. The Ignite, the turret shot doesn't do enough damage, but the flash
there was a minion that got pulled in with Vayne,
no!
So it took to aggro over the Vayne. That should have just been a free kill there. Big mistake there from Cryonics, but gets bailed out just a little bit.
You're happy with that if you're base there.
Oh, for sure happy with it, but that definitely would have been a kill if the Dominion just had gone down just slightly earlier. So pretty unfortunate, but you'll take it nonetheless if you are the Cassante. That is your one window, is to cheese the Vayne under turret, and doesn't work out fully but Burning the Flash means she cannot play nearly as aggressive.
Yeah, it does have the Ghost, so it still has some safety in the laning phase, but both of these top laners not having TP means that if you get forced out early, You're in kind of a rough spot depending on the lane state, so you have to be really careful about the state of your waves and how you are managing your CS, as Basting is in a good position here to make Kyrenex at least a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, I feel like if you just pick Gwen, though, in this game, are you not just way better off? Like, Kazante can't play the game against Gwen either, and then you have
You also have a melee for Sejuani, yeah.
Oh,
Ghost
and here we
on
go.
for Kyrenex. Basting does have the Unstoppable, holding onto that flash, sidestepping a lot of the damage. Stun's gonna come through, just holding that flash way too late! Kyrenex will find first blood, ramp turret shot, not enough to get the revenge.
Shocking to not see a flash committed earlier. You have to know Sejuani is gonna take a bit to stack that passive up, but gives him more than enough time to actually get the stun through, and Basting goes down on the top side, and pretty much an unforced error, I think. Just not expecting the stun to be enough. Sarkiros able to stun up here. Kush with the damage onto Binko and Pathetic Badger, but you know, it is going to be mostly just a chill trade lane. Grab your farm when you can. Nothing too crazy.
I don't think we're expecting to see too much out of this bottom side. Ashrakan is not exactly known for incredibly engaging all-ins pre-level 6, and Mel Poppy certainly is not as likely. So potentially caught here. Will smite away the Raptor camp, and now it's going to get stunned up. Flash is traded between the mid laners, but Kyrenex is first to rotate. Hunty doesn't get a great wall off phase, a Storm Raider Surge, sorry, not Phase Rush anymore, used by Concerned Badger. Actually able to get out there. Shocked that he survives that. Wow.
Yeah, 100% of that wall actually goes in the correct position. That's a guaranteed kill onto that Galio with the flash committed, but unfortunate for XSV, just going slightly wide means Concerned Badger gets away with scot-free, despite a pretty big error on the positioning there, so he'll be fortunate enough. On top of that, we got bot lane CS pretty even. Mid lane should be going towards the Anivia. Wall is amazing against Galio. You're able to just place it kind of willy-nilly, and Galio's E just gets immediately interrupted, so that'll be something we have to watch throughout this game. But they picked it more for the composition, kind of similar to the Victor in the first game, where they don't care as much about the isolated matchup, but it still definitely plays a part as far as actually being able to gank for this lane.
I put the Anivia wall in the same kind of category of ability as like Trundle Pillar or Bard Ultimate, where if it's used well, it genuinely can be teamfight defining and can win your team a game. But if it's used poorly, you can genuinely lose your team, a team fight or a game in general. As Concerned Badger will get that Storm Raider Surge proc, as the speed is just enough to get him away from the wall of Hunty, so no trade back with that Blizzard, and I'm starting to see the advantages of Storm Raider Surge Galio in this matchup.
Alright, I have to check. Does Storm Raider Surge actually give you Ghosted or not? Let's see.
I don't think it gives you Ghosted, but I know it gives you the movement speed, and that's a big deal.
Yeah, for sure. As we do see Jungle Dragon getting contested.
Stun lands. There's the ultimate as well. Heroic entrance from the Galio for defense. Zarkir was trying to get the stun in. Lagging Weasel is going to use that paranoia just for a bit of defense. Can't really find an angle in. Red Buff taking, but the Conqueror healing is enough. Hunty will find the last hit on an auto, and so will Kush on Concerned Badger. XSV have found their trade, have found their fight. Jabber will pick up another kill, and a huge turn for XSV sets them up 4-0.
Very strange fight there. Trying to rely on the Galio ultimate, but it doesn't really find too much value. Very weird Poppy E to start it, and then Lagging Weasel just takes way too much damage just from the R just ticking onto him, so just gets taken real low and then eventually forced out here. So we do see how it actually started off. Lagging gets kind of forced down, uses the spell shield, and that's the trigger for Jabber to go in. Zarkiros, the flash E.
An attempt at the angle, and I appreciate that.
You know, that was ambitious, I'll say that. And
that's a playing to win, not playing to not win. You love that kind of play.
Yeah, the ult does come through. They eventually find the auto on Lagging Weasel on the tail end. The Ash Arrow way too late to actually help out here. And nice 4-0 lead here for the side of XSV. And they're 3k gold up. Just, or 2.5k gold up. Only 8 minutes into this one. Obviously, top lane is expected, but the rest of the map falling is not what you want early game.
Now,
nice vision play.
I'm not as educated on my Vayne top build path. I see the Jarum's Fist, or not the Jarum's Fist, that's an old item. The Tunneler in there as Jabber. Taking on to Lagging Weasel here with Arcturus and Hunting in the area. This should just be a dead Nocturne. They can even just gift this one over to Chironics, and I think they absolutely will. The Vayne will accelerate ahead. This is just looking rougher and rougher for Mint.
Uh-oh. There's a little bit of an uh-oh when you have to have decent positioning going forward. Just to answer your question off the Tunneler, this is 100% going to be experimental Hexplate on the Vayne top.
That's what I figured. I just didn't know if that was like the decided upon like first item builder, if people are still going Blade of the Ruined King or Ginsu's Rage Blade, that sort of thing.
No, I think it's just decided, yeah, okay, getting a 450 HP plus ult cooldown plus
ult
AD
pace
and
plus
speed.
Yeah. Honestly, Hexplate might be one of those items that was added that's just been kind of underrated since got added. Like, you see it built on people like Nocturne, but it's not like a super common item build.
It's
I
also
think it should be more often.
It's also, I think the reason people don't think about this item is because it is built on Nocturne and it doesn't even feel that good.
Yeah. Honestly, most times you'd rather have Axiom Arc just because you want the offensive stats more than the defensive ones, but the stats that Hexplate provides when you cast your ultimate is really, really good. It just doesn't do much for you outside of that.
Yeah. It's a great item, but once again, Nocturne, yeah, he gets like 30% attack speed and lifesteal. Oh boy. But with Vayne, that is a extremely good kind of pairing of stats that you actually will get there, so...
the tanky Vayne is a happy Vayne.
Yes, this is true. So, or not lifesteal, excuse me, I meant movement speed. But, you know.
Yeah, movement speed on melee characters is good. Movement speed on ranged characters is really good.
Yep. Especially ones that have access to, I don't know, like 5 dashes during the ultimate and...
Yeah. There's a reason why keystones like Storm Raider Surge and Phase Rush have always had the caveat that melees will get more movement speed than ranged people will. Because if you give ranged champions the same type of movement speed bonuses that melee ones can get, they just sort of run the map. And I don't think Hexplate has a difference between melee and ranged in the stats that it gives when you press ultimate.
I believe it does. But it's only like a 30% reduction instead of the normal like 50%. So it's not actually that bad. Compared to some other items like particularly the Tiamat items usually.
There is a difference. It's 50% attack speed and 20% movement speed for melees and 35% attack speed, 14% movement speed for ranged champions. So not that much of a reduction.
Yeah, it's not actually that crazy. Okay, I did verify Storm Raider Search does not give the effect Ghosted, so it's not actually broken against Anivia, which is cool. If you guys don't know, the way that these walls are kind of coded is they just place like 20 minions.
It's a bunch of minions that are impassable. I don't know if it still works like that, because I know that's how it used to work, but there's been a lot of coding changes in the interim.
No, they are still bugged like that. It's still bugged
awesome.
Like that. Remember,
awesome, that's so cool.
Viego's W breaking the game, but we do have a gank on the top side.
In a little bit of trouble, does have the all out. Does manage to get away, but the CC chain will connect, and Basting goes bye-bye. Chironyx doesn't get the last hit, but at this point, I don't think he cares that much about who gets the kill. It's just a matter of Basting not getting anything.
Yeah, as soon as that W is committed, there is no CC reduction to stop you from just getting ulted and E'd from the Sejuani, so we'll just be that free kill here. Now they look for a play on the bot side.
Paranoia plus the quickness, everything in. Charm Fear lands on top. Zarkiros with a great ultimate. Is enough to save Kosh? No! Bingo Bungo flashes forward and will pick him up, get himself a double kill with the Enchanted Arrow after the flash of Zarkiros. A great disengage attempt is countered by some excellent AD carry play from Bingo. And now potentially over-indexed on the bottom side, but it's just Jabber and Hunty, and they don't have enough damage between the two of them. Nicely played by Icee on the bottom side.
Yeah, Zarkiros tries to save the play, but Bingo knows that is their opportunity to find a kill here. Pathetic Badger gets dodged away from. Let's be a little bit careful, but it's not available.
Jabber does plenty of damage. Hunty does as well, but not a ton of mana on this Anivia. Keep your eye on that blue bar, as now Chironyx has rotated down, maybe now in a bit of trouble, but in this 1v2 is feeling confident to just step forward and take a couple kills, flashes forward to make up the second one, and in the meantime, the rest of the team has found the opposite side of the fight, a triple kill for the top lane Vayne!
Oh, what a nice flank there. Unfortunately, was waiting on the last hour for a very long time on that fight, but eventually it does come through, able to stealth during the Galio ultimate, means the follow-up is not there, and good damage coming through here. The 4K gold lead persists for Excessive, and Basting just has to hit the turret and some lonesome on the top side. Pretty unfortunate timing there. The experimental hexblade also coming up for the Vayne, so this Vayne's gonna come back with a ton of extra gold on top of it. Already well on his way to the second item as well, so pretty good sign here so far for Excessive. So we do get a replay.
Yes, we're gonna get a replay of exactly how this fight started. This is looking really bad for Excessive at first. Hunty running low on mana, Jabber not really having an angle in, but they just played it slow and navigated it so smoothly.
Yeah, eventually Hunty finds a nice stun onto 2, and they go in at that same moment, and with Chronix kind of TPing, no one else really noticing. Vayne is level 10 with an item completed at this point. Extremely powerful, just uses the base stats to go 1v2 against Badger and Binko, and then on the other side, Koosh comes in time to actually kill the other few members while Hunty is able to gather up the mana from the takedowns using, was it something of mind? Oh my god. It's
Presence
been so
of
long.
mind, that's the one.
Presence of mind, that's it. Yeah, this is, this game's looking tough. They do have, the engage advantage, and I talked about how it's really reliant on Excessive having good individual performances in this one, and they're having good individual performances. 501 on the Vayne, and even more so the 207 on the Sejuani, able to find success despite the compositional disadvantage for this champion. But at this point now, Anivia's pretty free on a side lane, and Vayne can't be answered by either Galio or Cassante. That's kind of the problem with the composition that you've drafted is, hey, who's going to answer Galio? Who's going to answer Vayne? Well, typically it's going to be a long-range mage, but you don't have one of these in this game, so there's not really a great answer for it in the side lane, and that's just going to be a persistent problem going forward.
Yeah, I think also part of the issue is Basting has a full armor build, and Badger has gone pretty magic resist heavy. He does have some health stacked, but the health stack kind of just helps Vayne have a better 1v1 advantage. So the fact that this lane swap has happened already is just a huge advantage for Excessive Jellyfish Jammers, as Hunty is just kind of free farming in Basting's face, and there's not a lot he can do about it.
Yeah, and pick potential's a little bit lower from the Ashe. Arcuros now.
Arcuros, no flash, but with the defensive ultimate from Jabber Jabber, able to navigate his way out of there. But in the meantime, keep your eyes on bottom lane, as Kyrenex is just free farming this turret with a little help from the Grubs, as this is just... Yeah, this is what Vayne does. Just auto-reset, Q auto-reset. I think this turret's just gone, actually.
Yeah, and if Basting walks too far forward, trust me, Vayne will just immediately click R and try and chase you to the ends of the
final
earth.
hour plus the passive? That will just chase down.
Yeah, we'll probably be able to back for a second item though, so most likely not going to go for anything too aggressive. Jabber, no ultimate here, but Binko is not careful. Could get taken down anyways. Will actually call off the play. And one thing I wanted to point out is usually Ashe is this great, engaged AD carry you can kind of rely on, but with Mel and Anivia in the game, it's just not that easy. Anivia gets to put up the wall after the Ashe arrow comes down, makes a very big barrier for entry, and then, if the Mel just reflects the Ashe arrow, that's a disaster.
Yeah, the reflected arrow, it's not the damage you're really worried about, it's just that extra bit of crowd control, as it does look like the Essence Reaver is finished up for Kyrenex up there on that top side. So the Vayne tumbles are just going to do even more damage now, and they're just going to be even more painful for either Basting or for Concerned Badger to tank, let alone if they get their hands on the back line. I don't think Binko Bunko is lasting too much outside of maybe 1 or 2 tumbles.
Yeah, and we now see the Essence Reaver completed here for the Vayne, so 2 items are in their pocket, and that's going to be quite the scary champion, as we do see basically a lot of the members here for Excessive completing their second items, while a lot of first items still in the inventories of Mint, and these are big power spikes you can't really ignore. Drake coming up at 45 seconds probably means it's just going to have to be a no contest, and that is soul point for Excessive.
It's not the most useless soul point either. Cloud Soul, very good for this team composition. Abused pretty heftily by Anivia and by Vayne. I would say the extra movement speed just provides such good value, as Hunty spots out the potential dive there from Apathetic Badger, wards him off with that stun. This is kind of just what Anivia does. She can just sit in a side lane and say, no thank you. I'm good.
Yeah, and this is without the tier item completed, so mana is at least somewhat of a problem right now. Just gonna be able to walk it out at this.
It's those upgraded Swiftness boots. It's really difficult to actually get on top of the Anivia. She just kind of stands far away from you and says, haha, you can't touch me.
You know Anivia is strong when pro players are playing it again. That's really the main indicator, so just being able to leverage this champion, having to practice from Hunty on this champion, which I feel like was a champion everyone ignores forever. Like, it was always pretty decent. Okay, hold that thought.
Into the top side. Flash is burned. Arrow doesn't find its target, but the quickness in. They're trying to find the damage onto Hunty. Does have the egg. Is tanking it up with this Rod of Ages. It's so difficult to actually knock him down. Apathetic Badger tanking up. Concerned Badger will take that last hit. Just
turret didn't reset.
A little bit more damage. The turret didn't reset. Hunty survives for so damn long. Doesn't manage to pick up a kill. Somehow. Icee stack the aggro beautifully. They pick up the kill, they pick up the turret, but keep your eyes mid lane, as they're going to lose a lot more than that.
Yeah, they're about to lose the mid lane turret as well as the bot lane as well. So it's a costly top lane play, and they're going to lose basting as well. This is definitely maybe not hashtag worth.
Hunty survived for so long. 1 versus 4. That was absurd.
Yeah, and honestly, I think the Q maybe missed the target that was actually tanking the turret, so couldn't find an extra kill on top of it. Definitely fortunate enough for them not to actually end up with a loss here. Concerned Badger is screwed.
Doesn't have flash, doesn't have ultimate, no chance at escape. The crowd control combo. Kyronex finds their 6th kill of the game, and this Vayne just continues to accelerate.
Yeah, and that's so much map pressure gone. They don't have much turrets on the top side. For this Baron, as now Ashe is contesting onto Hunty. No Q for this Anivia.
Forward, no Q, no flash. That's just a dead Anivia. They're playing so well in that top lane dive, now making such a costly mistake, as now Kyronex and Jabber are going to try and make this play happen. Paranoia. Kyronex flashes forward, does not give a damn about anything that Icee can do to him.
That's Baron.
That's going to be the Baron over to excessive Jellyfish jammers, and Kyronex having fun with the Vayne top lane.
Yeah, Ashe had to commit the ult and the flash, and with Rakan not immediately there in the area, there was no way to actually lock down Kyronex, and that's just a free kill as soon as that flash is committed. And level 15 on the Vayne, your Ashe is never surviving that. This is going to be Baron. 4 to 15 the kill score. 8k gold up for Excessive.
Sheesh.
And this is going to be a rough one, as we do get a replay of how it started. Binko just kills the turret, also ults Hunty in the process. Eventually the kill comes through, and then now Kyronex TPing, seeing way too far forward on the 80 carry. And Lagging Weasel gets taken very low, flash forward, past the Rakan, the stun comes through.
That's not something you should ever be able to get away with on an 80 carry.
Yeah, I'm surprised to just not see Apathetic Badger just click the R button there, but definitely holding it just a little bit and will get punished for it, just expecting to be able to stop the engage with the W. And we do see the Storm Razor now completed, so that side lane is going to be even more dangerous with that slow that Storm Razor does provide, so definitely indexing more towards that.
Every tumble proc is going to hurt so much with Essence Reaver Storm Razor. I imagine maybe an Infinity Edge will come next just to make them hurt even more. Life is just not going to get any better for these Icee side laners. They need some armor stack quickly, and they need some way to shut down this Vayne, but outside of maybe Badger flashing on top of him and Concerned Badger with the ultimate right after, maybe you can pick that up, but if you're burning all of that on the Vayne, you're also ignoring the Mel, ignoring the Anivia, who are going to be providing a ton of backline value.
Yeah, I think the problem with it is really comes down to the draft, and since they didn't come out there
Arrow,
early,
no reflect, Paranoia, they're looking for the all-in, Sun lands mid-air, Jabber finds the angle, and Zerkaros is going to knock away the Ashe, so no help from the 80 carry, as Basting is now in trouble, and near comes Kyronex! He has got the final hour, he has got the ghost on, he does not care! There's the combo! Quickness plus the Galleon ultimate heroic entrance, but the damage has already died! Kyronex is free, firing! Silver bolts into the backs of Icee! A triple kill for the Vayne, and that will seal the series!
Yeah, that'll be the end of it. I was just about to talk about how good the composition is for Excessive, if they do come out to an early lead, you have the Poppy and Nivea combo, you have a Nivea to deny a lot of the pressure, and the Vayne being able to pop off means that there is just not enough damage to actually take down this multi-threat composition, and they'll ride this all the way to a victory in this series, 2-1 over Mint.
Disgusting performance from that Vayne. Hunty and Kush had some great performances in game 1, Jabber as well. But I feel hard-pressed to not give the series to Kyrenex for that Vayne performance. Obviously, set up for success with the team composition, set up for success with the picks that were brought into it, but still, it takes good amount of skill to pilot Vayne top. As much as everybody says, grr, brainless top laner, range top laner, Mino Likey, it is a difficult thing to pilot, especially in professional play. Seeing Kyrenex pilot it this well is a sure sign of a great player. Yeah,
definitely a good performance here from Kyrenex, and you know, I will say the substitution here for Dinko, not honestly that bad. A good performance from the Ashe, honestly, as much as you can expect here. But really, you know, with the rest of the composition not really working, 1.8 damage, 1.8k damage on your Cassante. Yeah, man. I'm so sad.
That's Cassante versus a range top laner, all right. That looks just about what I expected.
Imagine if there wasn't that one minion though on that.
If Cassante picks up that solo kill topside before Kyrenex spirals out of control, I think this game is entirely different. There was a butterfly effect there that warps the rest of the game, but unfortunately, that's not the world we live in. Vayne got online, Vayne got ahead, and then the game was kind of over.
Yeah, so unfortunate for Basting and the crew. Obviously, very talked about player. Unfortunately, not able to come up with the win here. But, you know, at the end of the day, I think it was a pretty decent performance from them, especially against a team like Excessive Jellyfish Jammers, who is well known to be one of the favorites of the league.
Came in heavy favorites, yeah.
So honestly, not a bad performance. Yes, they had some throws, but they were able to button it up in that game too. And then, yeah, just the first game, the composition was rough, and then that last game, the conditions that Excessive needed to play through ended up coming true. And there really is no coming back from that after. So you could take it with a bit of a grain of salt. At least, hey, we did when we had the composition working, it worked. But I felt like there were some draft adaptations maybe that they should look up for coming forward. Especially, I think you need to have your bot lane here in Daro and Apathetic. Of course, we did have that substitution in the last one, but just giving them a winning lane that they can rely on, because that Senna Melio really put them at a big disadvantage for the series, just going down 0-1 immediately. So, yeah, definitely some things to learn about, but good showing from XSV Jellyfish Jammers. They will be able to scoot their way on to 3-0 in their Group C with this cross-group match, and that's going to make it a little more complicated here for Mint Icee going forward.
Yeah, I think good showing from both of the teams today. They both showed what their strengths were. They both showed that they did have weaknesses. Neither of these teams are infallible. There were draft mistakes and in-game mistakes that are punishable, that are able to be picked up by other teams. And I'm excited to see how that's going to actually spiral out towards the rest of the league once people catch up on these matches, once they see them, once they get a chance to like study the VOD, see how these players play. But I think that is going to be it from us tonight. I want to thank you all so much for joining us. I've been What's Your Pretty. That's Golden Gad, our producer and observer, Shivam, and Anti, making sure everything runs as smoothly as possible in the background. Again, we appreciate y'all being here so much, and we'll catch you next week for more Titan Esports and Vanquisher action. Have a good night.
See you.
Hater plotting my elimination. Gotta go to Google for the information. I'm a superstar, so I gotta shine. Top dollar be the bottom line. Bottom feeding niggas out of line. Turn your heart rate to a dotted line. Yeah, my zodiac probably $sign. Got the energy to win it, my nigga, I'm feeling great. Got a day with destiny, focusing on my fate. I don't give a fuck what you rapping, you been a fake. I'm everything that they ain't. It can't be, it won't be. Wanna see me fall, I can't go, I won't leave. Coming from the block with plain clothes and police. Straight up to the top with bankrolls and rollies. Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me. You feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? Ay, 12 can't really really stop shit, so I'm still pushing like a mosh pit. Ice dripping, think I'm hot shit. In a yellow bucket with the mop stick. I've been jugging jams like wholesale. Everything must go sell. Hitting bitches with the oh well. Need 100 million on the low scale. On my worst night, I'm the best nigga. Wouldn't mess with you, couldn't cap to him. Homie spotted me like 700, brought 1100 right back to him. If I can't do it, then it ain't real. I just make dollars, I don't make deals. I've been going hard in the paint, still blowing kush clouds till I can't feel like. Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like. 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like. 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right?